Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 10th round of Apex Rear Wing's 9th season of competition. We're here at Brands Hatch, Indy, the small little bull ring for the final round, and it is my absolute pleasure to turn over proceedings to our commentary duo of Matt Dunlop and Liam Harrison.
Thank you very much, Stairs. Yes, we are here at Brands Hatch for the second and the last time, and in fact, the last time at any circuit on a Wednesday for just a little while, at least for this season. This is the final round of the Apex Rear Wing British Touring Car Championship. It has been an absolutely cracking season. I've enjoyed every minute of it, and it has been my almost imponderable joy to be joined in the commentary box all season and yet again tonight by Matty Dunlop.
Hello, Madbird, and hello, everyone watching at home. Welcome to the season finale here at Apex Rear Wing Season 9. We are at the Brands Hatch Indy course, and the championship is already decided, but there are a few spots in the standings that are still up for grabs, so look forward to some really exciting midfield battles and probably a pretty good scrap at the front as well, Madbird.
Absolutely. Here are the point standings. So Ziras locked out the championship, his 7th with Apex Rear Wing last time out at Thruxton. Donington. So he is in the lead. He cannot be assailed. Berto behind him, unfortunately, just edged out, wasn't able to get the job done last round. But from him down, all of the positions are still in doubt, so these could still change tonight. So Sam Smith in 3rd, Resist in 4th, Brenton Foley in 5th with Goofball Antics in 6th, Zahlingeer in 7th, Desamaj in 8th, Greg Turra in 9th, and Roadhog rounding out the top 10. So all of those positions could change, and we've got a full house tonight of 15 cars. So everyone is here to try to get the last minute points on offer. We've got Hans Brunswick in the chat already saying, hi all, let's get ready to roll over. And although this isn't Knockhill, we have been warned that the Druid's hairpin does have some issues with flipping cars over. So I am absolutely hyped. Matty, what about yourself?
Yeah, I'm really keen as well. I'm just looking at the point standings at the moment, and based on the fact that there's 31 points up for grabs left in the round, I believe, 15 for each of the race wins, and an extra point if you score pole position. Anyone who has less of a gap than 31 to the car in front is locked in, and it looks like, more of a gap. And it looks like Brenton Foley and Goofball Antics are both, Resist and Brenton Foley are both in a position where they'll finish no lower than 4th and 5th, respectively, in the championship. Goofball can still jump Brenton Foley up ahead of him, but Berto and Sam Smith are still contesting that 2nd place in the championship, and then everyone else behind Brenton Foley is still in a spot where they're up for grabs. And as you were saying, rollovers are indeed certainly possible here at the Druid's hairpin. We're just seeing Ziras running down the main straight now in this practice session. We've got just over 10 minutes to go, and he'll be going through the paddock hill bend now, and I'll just point out to you where this Druid's hairpin is so you can be sure to be watching in case they go through there on 2 wheels and then onto their roofs. It is this corner right here where you jump on the brakes, this slow speed hairpin. If there's medium to high amounts of contact between cars that Berto was saying to us earlier during testing, it can cause rollovers because of a strange combination of this mod and the cars that are racing on it. So hopefully, for the sake of the drivers, it doesn't come to that. But we do have a lot of people in the chat, Hans Brunswick included, who do love a good rollover or two, don't they, Madbird?
They do indeed, and if you are watching along here, say hello. It'd be very nice to have a good chat with you all on the last round of the season. So 10 minutes left in this practice session yet to run. Ziras currently top of the timesheets, although he has been trading that back and forth with Berto and Sam Smith in 3rd. So the top 3 as they are in the standings at the moment, with Zahlingeer up there in 4th as well. And full house tonight. So we've got Rhodey has arrived for his 2nd night with us in the Plus Fitness BMW. And we've also got iRambo, who made his debut last time out in the BMW, the Cock and Balls BMW. Tonight he is opting instead for the Repsol Volvo. So all the Volvo fans in the audience, including myself and Matty Dunlop, will be very happy to see 2 of the beasts out there tonight.
Oh, you know I'm happy. I love seeing those 5 cylinders thrashing around here, and they'll be thrashing around here quite a lot because it's the shortest lap, I think, that we've had on the calendar so far. And lap times, at the moment, the top time in practice is 47 seconds, .895. So the margins between the lap times, especially in practice and qualifying, are going to be even closer than they normally are. So qualifying is going to be thrilling.
Yeah, it's a bull ring is the term, as Stairs said in the pre-show. It's just it's barely even, like, you look at the circuit and it looks like a sort of a boomerang that someone's banged on a ledge or something, and it's got a little bit of a dent in it. It's really, there's not much to the track at all, but some of the corners are still quite challenging, especially that first turn, Paddock Hill bend. Trying to gauge your turn in on that as it drops away from you, and it's quite a fast corner as well, is very difficult.
Looks like a little bit like a phone, doesn't it? Now, I understand, Madbird, you've been a little bit busy in the time since the last race. We've been banging on all season about the humble Tim Tam Slam, and I believe you've got a nice bit of content for us, Madbird.
I do indeed. So just a little bit earlier on tonight, I finally made good on my promise to Stairs earlier on in the season. Hello to you as well, Nathan Higginson. I finally made good on my promise to do a Tim Tam Slam, and I actually recorded it as well. So I think you've got some footage of your own later on tonight, Matty. But for now,
certainly that'll be coming after race 1. But we do have part 1 of 2 of Madbird's Tim Tam Slam escapades, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, let's have a look. And apologies for my appearance. Hello everybody, this is Madbird, or Liam. I'm one of the commentators for Apex Real Wings Season 9 BTCC. Part of the something that's been quite controversial this season has been myself and Matty Dunlop, my co-commentator, neither of us having done a Tim Tam Slam, despite him describing it as that's living and then immediately saying that he hadn't done one. So for tonight, for the final round, ideally we both have. I definitely know I am going to. I don't know if Matty's going to. I'm going to do a Tim Tam Slam, film our reactions, and let you know if it's actually all it's cracked up to be. Behind the camera is my beautiful girlfriend Mel, who is doing this filming for the low bribe of a single Tim Tam. So I've carefully read the instructions on WikiHow. And I've got myself a packet of the double coat Tim Tams, as that is what I was suggested to get. Made myself a hot cup of coffee at, what time is it? At 6 PM, so most of this is going to go down the sink, but in the meantime, let's get slamming. So opening the packet as instructed by the packet. Did you know there's instructions on the Tim Tam packet on how to open the Tim Tam packet? Because I didn't. So I've been told that I'm meant to bite off the very corners, and then I suck the beverage through the Tim Tam like a straw. So let's give this a go. Okay, and we want to reveal that gooey center, I believe. So I've done the job there, and I've done it there as well. And then, according to WikiHow, I'll just shove it in there and start sucking, and the hot beverage should melt the interior on its way up into my mouth. So this coffee is quite hot, so let's hope I don't burn my mouth off. What's happening is the Tim Tam is actually falling apart as I'm trying to suck through it, so perhaps I'm gripping it a bit too hard. Oh yeah, no, this isn't going well at all. Let me try another one. Let's try this again. Alrighty. It's working. However, again, the structural integrity of the Tim Tam itself seems to be falling apart before I can fully slam the Tim Tam, as it were. So,
Mixed results. It's still a Tim Tam, and it's now sort of melted and tastes a little bit like coffee, which I'm a fan of, but no actual slamming of the Tim Tam, so a little bit disappointed there. I'll be very interested to see if Matty has done any better tonight.
Yeah. So there was part one. I do have a second part where I try it again, and I said in there that I carefully read the instructions on WikiHow, which is an out-and-out lie, because if I had carefully read the instructions on WikiHow, I would have found that you were supposed to use an original Tim Tam. For some reason, I'd thought that you were meant to use double coat Tim Tam, Matty, but apparently that's not the case.
I thought you were supposed to use the double coat Tim Tams as well, so that's what I did as well. So,
Okay, so at least
I have very similar issues, but obviously we'll get to those later. So you're not alone, don't worry.
I'm very glad to hear it. So I hope you all enjoyed watching me sort of just mouth at a chocolate biscuit that was half submerged in coffee, because that was definitely some interesting footage. But in the meantime, we've got 3 minutes left to run in this practice session. Times haven't changed by the looks, except for Resist has actually jumped up into third place. Only a tenth of a second covering Ziras, Berto and Resist at the moment, so very close up there at the top.
Has Resist had a win yet this season? I don't think he has. Is this going to be the round? Is this going to be it?
I did say, I've been saying every week, I think, you're going to win a race next week, Phil, which is Resist, and he's always gone, oh yeah, sure. Yeah, if you keep saying that, I'm never going to win a race. So I guess we've now made it a certainty that he won't win a race tonight. Although having said that, we've made it a certainty that he will win a race tonight. Curses are an odd thing, Matty.
They really are, and we've had a pretty strong history with them this season at the very least, especially with even drivers like Ziras, who you expect to normally be infallible. We really nailed him in one of those curses a few races back, and it just goes to show that you can get anyone with it. So I think the strategy that I'm employing now with the commentator's curse is to just double down on it so hard that it subverts itself and actually becomes positive encouragement for the drivers.
I like that idea. So who do you reckon we're going to give the curse to tonight? We're not yet through qualifying, so we don't know what their starting positions are going to be, but Ziras has just improved his time up at the top. Who do we, early on, what are our predictions tonight, Matty?
Early on, I think Berto looks pretty strong, because he hasn't been qualifying super well in the last couple of rounds, apart from the odd pole position here and there, and he's currently sitting just over a tenth behind Ziras, so he's got pretty good pace. And this track is pretty much all corners, so that Renault, which is legendarily good around corners in Apex rear wing circles, as we've been describing a lot over this season, I think it'll have some good pace in the race, so I'm willing to throw a little bit of a curse on Berto for race one.
Sounds good. Well, I mean, I might as well make good on it and say that I reckon Resist is in with the shot for race win. Ziras and Berto to take each other out, and Resist to sail through for his maiden race win. So let's watch that not happen. But but as you say, curses are very fickle things. So who knows which way it will swing tonight. Just under a minute to go left in this session, and it's nice to see so many cars out there on track.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm just trying to look through the leaderboards at the moment. We had 15 cars at some point, didn't we?
I was about to say, we've lost someone, and I'm trying to figure out who it was. Bagsy, I believe, has dropped out. So he is in Victoria, so hopefully he hasn't caught coronavirus and died in the 5 minutes since we last looked at the runners. I imagine probably he's still in the Discord, so he should hopefully be jumping back in.
Yeah, it seems like it was pretty healthy, definitely last time we saw him and last time I heard from him in the group chat, but that coronavirus, I tell you what, it'll get you, especially if you're in Melbourne like Bagsy and myself are. So I'm keeping safe. I'm sure Bags is keeping very safe as well, and everyone who's watching along from Melbourne, I hope you're all keeping safe as well.
Yeah, I hope everybody is keeping safe and isolating as much as possible, social distancing, washing your hands for God's sake, and doing all that good stuff. Missed Hands Brunswick in the chat saying Madbird doing a Tim Tam Slam. This is quality content. Just you wait, my friend. Just you wait. And Nathan Higginson saying first stream has jumped in on. Welcome along, Nathan. Sorting out reference pics for the ATCC V8 Supercars 1993 to 2002 mod. About 4,000 photos. Holy heck. That's a lot of photos, but it's always good to see the modding community in ARW live and well.
Yeah, I've been following his progress. I think if that's who I'm thinking about in the Automobilista Australia Facebook group. And he's been working so hard on that mod, putting together all sorts of cars and a mountain of paint jobs. And it's been a fantastic job that he's been doing there. But we've got a qualifying session coming up pretty soon here for Apex Rear Wing. It is a 10-minute session with no lap limit, so with 45-second laps. You can get a fair few with that. I'd probably say you can get 12, 13 laps done in the session if you keep it on the track the whole time. Berto has won the pole position award. I don't think we have an official pole position award, but if we did, he would have won it because he's taken more pole positions than Ziras can even hope to catch up for at the end of this season. So there you go, 5-3 with 1 pole remaining, and that is clearly in the court of Berto. It's a 1.94 kilometre circuit, like I was saying earlier, the shortest we've visited on the calendar. Only 6 corners, it's a clockwise track, and there's not very many straight parts on it at all, is there, Madbird?
No, the straight itself is not particularly straight, and looking at the track map, it now reminds me of an adult toy that I've seen a picture of recently, which if you know, then you know. But yes, it's a very, very short track, only 6 turns, most of which are to the right. There's only 2 left turns on the whole bloody thing. So it's about as simple as you can get, but it's to look at anyway, but to actually drive it isn't quite as simple as we were discussing. That Druid's hairpin that we're seeing Rambo go through in that beautiful Repsol liveried Volvo can be a little bit tricky for some, and especially turn 1, the Paddock Hill bend can be quite tricky. So everyone seems to be trying to aim for that 11-12 lap count that you sort of put the gauntlet down for, Matty. They've all jumped straight out onto the track.
Sorry, I'm still sort of quietly laughing to myself about the comment you made about the track's layout just before. Yes, it looks to be one of those adult toys that I read in the magazines the other day. Strong vibes of Jeremy Clarkson. I went on the internet and I found this.
I didn't want to. We try to keep it fairly clean here, and I didn't want to go saying the actual word for what it was. So, just in case there are any kids watching, first of all, why, and second of all, probably let your parents know that they can offer us some money monthly on Patreon if they enjoy our content. Does take
for
a
the
bit
kids
of
wondering what this adult toy is in particular, it's actually a telephone handset because you have to be over 18 to take out a phone contract, so that would be why you wouldn't know what it is.
Absolutely. It does look a little bit like an old phone handset for the most part. Barambo not leaving Bagsy too much room on their hot laps, and in fact overtaking Bagsy and immediately soaring off the track, as you can see there in the background, straight off into that huge runoff that's off to the left of turn 1. Michael Zalavari just saying, I was told there would be Tim Tams. You've missed part 1 of what are going to be 3 Tim Tam segments, Michael, so hang around, and very good to see you as always. Michael Zalavari also saying, we try to keep it fairly clean. Do you really? I think we do, for the most part.
I think you dropped an F-bomb last time out, didn't you?
I probably did, let's be honest. I probably had stares in my ear saying like you what you what did you say as I was saying it. But early on here, Berto with the ascendancy. He is set the fastest time so far of a 47.75, which is just under a tenth of a second faster than Ziras.
It's very close at the top though, because as you said, it's under a tenth of a second. And I think one of the things I have to consider here, I've talked about traffic a few times in the past, but it's never really been an issue. This might be the first and only time of the season where traffic in qualifying is going to prove part or all of the difference, because it's such a short layout and we've got 15 cars on track in this session. So finding a good bit of real estate and putting a good hot lap in is going to be really, really important for these drivers.
Yeah, and the last of our runners, Greg Turra, has just actually set his hot lap. Up until I looked at the thing, I thought, there's only 14 cars. But Greg Turra hadn't actually set a lap time yet. He has now. He's gone up into 8th, as the man on your screen's now Berto, still in the lead of the timing sheets, and hasn't extended his advantage yet, and doesn't look like he's going to do this lap. Not a particularly quick one. And indeed 0.4 of a second down on his personal best. So he'll be looking to extend that advantage. We've got Zahlingeer coming around the last corner right behind his buddy Tyrrell as he crosses the line and jumps himself up into 7th place, just behind Roadhog, who being a very short track, that Audi, the extra weight of that Audi doesn't seem to be costing it quite as much. It was setting some pretty decent times during practice.
Yeah, there's not really many long sections on this track, so that all-wheel drive is going to be proving a bit of a difference here. We're just watching Sam Smith now, because he's up on his personal best lap time so far this section. He's going to cross the line. Let's see where he ends up. He's actually gone off the track cut, so that won't actually count for a lap there, unfortunately. But it's good to see that he's got pace. He's just got to get those track limits sort of nailed down. I wonder where the trigger points are on this track. I'm suspecting there's one on the exit of the first corner, because it's very easy to run wide there. But there's not a huge amount of opportunity for shortcutting otherwise, and every other corner you seem to have to fight to keep the car on the track in the first place, especially the final bend.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe the Surtees corner, which is the sort of left-right, where you would usually go off and down and up the hill and into the forest. Instead, you'd sort of jink to the left and then turn right around the last corner. We'll see Resist go through it in just a moment as he comes down the Cooper Straight. Again, one of the two short sections of straight on this track. There we go. So that's the Surtees corners there. And I reckon you could sort of shortcut that just a little bit, but I don't know if you get any benefit from it.
No, because it's just grass on the outsides of the track there, and you've got to shift the weight left and right pretty quickly there. So if you get onto that part off the track into the grass, even if you dip a couple of wheels there and jump on the brakes, it's going to straight line you and lock you up across the side of the track there. So you're going to lose a lot of time no matter which way you put it. We're just seeing Ziras go through there now. You get a little bit of encroaching over that curve on the inside there, but just a little bit, just enough to sort of improve your lap time by a couple of thousandths of a second. Just having a look at the chat now. Sue Smith says, remember, Sam's mum is watching, and don't we love having you here, Sue, and all the Sam clan. It's always great to have your company every week, and your cheering of Sam on is going to be the driving factor, I think, that's going to push him up into the higher echelons of qualifying.
Yeah, I was going to say, you were saying that it looks good for Sam Smith, or like Sam's pace looks good. I was going to say what doesn't look good is the fact that I've said adult toy while his mum has been watching the stream. Unless, of course, she's joined after I said that, in which case now I've outed myself. But it's very good, as always, to see the Sam clan coming along to support good old Sammy. Berto still with the... Berto has actually taken the lead in qualifying, and Ziras unable to improve at the moment. Still 3 minutes left to run in this session.
That margin's actually just crisscrossed over to the other driver. It was 0.075 of a second, and now it's the exact margin that Berto has over Ziras. So let's see what happens there. Will they just keep leapfrogging each other to the exact same margin all the way through the end of the qualifying session? Who knows? But what we do know is that Resist is doing quite well in third at the moment, and he's I don't know, I don't want to curse your curse, Madbird, but he's looking pretty quick.
He is looking very quick. Ziras is looking like he's going to improve. Sam Smith, not sure if he's got an issue or if he's just stuck in traffic, but he's jumped out of the way there on the Cooper Straight. Ziras just coming down the last corner there. Look how tucked up to the inside he is. He wants every ounce of speed he can get, and he lost all of his time in that last sector, so probably only got 3 laps left if he's got the fuel to do it, to try to set a time faster than Berto.
We've just seen Berto coming out of the garages again now, so there's no drivers currently garaged, so everyone who's out on the track right now needs to be putting in 110% to get their perfect lap on the board, because there's not very much time left to do it. We're just seeing Resist going through Paddock Hill Bend, which is probably one of my favourite corners in motorsports. It's so tricky to get right no matter what you are driving, and in the slippery little cars like these British touring, these super touring cars, it's a hell of a lot of fun to slide a car, to four-wheel drift a car through there. And Sam Smith seems to have run off the track at the Grand Hill Bend a little bit there. Ziras is going to come across the line now. Is he going to improve on his lap time? No, he doesn't. He still sits second as we stand, and he's gone straight back to the garage. He's going to throw on maybe a fresh set of tyres, reduce his fuel load a little bit perhaps. And there's a few cars coming out of the garage now as well. Sam Smith is coming around the last bend now. Let's see what he can do. 48, he crosses the line, doesn't improve, so Sam Smith still sits fourth.
So probably 2, if they're out on track now, they've probably got 2 laps left in them. As we see Decimage having a big excursion there at the first corner. And look at the queue, how many cars there are. They're going to have to build a bit of gap between themselves. So Ziras exiting his pit box there, and you can see just completely does not care about any pit speed limit. Whoa, catches some air as he comes out, and he was definitely in a rush to get back out and set some hot laps. So he's just coming up to the end of his out lap now. Berto, in the meantime, is improving. He's 1.5 tenths up on his personal best as he's coming down the start-finish straight, getting a bit of a slipstream from Rhodey, but loses it all in that last sector. Might have gotten caught up behind Benjamin Rhodes there in the Plus Fitness BMW, and not being able to improve might very well be the difference. If Ziras has got a bit of clear track in front of him, which it looks like he has, he might be able to just pull out a little bit more time. He only needs a tenth of a second to take that pole position.
He's up at the moment, but he's got Rhodey in front of him, and he may have to pass him at some point in this lap if he doesn't move out of the way, unless he can time it right and get a good draft down the main straight. We've only got one corner left until then, though, and he's still up. He's up just over a tenth of a second on the pole position time, and he goes up the inside of Rhodey. Oh, that bump doors just a little bit. You don't really see this sort of full contact sport racing in qualifying, but is Ziras going to get pole position? The clock's at 0. Oh. Yes, he's up by 0.109. Ziras takes pole position. Berto cannot answer for it. Resist has completed his lap, and that, I think, is all she wrote for qualifying. Sam Smith is in the garages in 4th place. Brenton Foley made his way up to P5 by the end of the session there, with decent margin P6. I think Brenton Foley's still trying to post a lap at the moment. He may still improve yet. I'm not sure what his lap times are looking like. They're quite far down, so he's not going to improve at this stage. So it looks to be locked into P5. He's off the track, into the fence, into the garage, and that is qualifying done and dusted.
It is. So another pole position for Ziras. So he closes that gap to Berto, but is unable to match him on pole positions for this season, as we detailed earlier on. So some very, very close results there in qualifying. Between Resist and Sam Smith is 100th of a second, so expect them to have a good tussle during the race itself. We've got a brief little warm-up, which is just enough time to play the second part of my Tim Tam Slam adventures, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few minutes after this. So we got a little bit of technical issues. We're going to get a good shot of some sky there. So we will be going to break in just a moment. So Ziras with a storm in qualifying there in the end, but we have now got the footage ready. So we'll see you in just a few minutes.
My beautiful assistant Mel has had a bit of a brainwave. So the idea is that I do the same as I did before, bite off the ends, and then I just sort of give the insides a bit of a swizzle with this meat skewer. And see if that maybe helps the hot liquid travel up the Tim Tam a little bit more. So let's give this a go. I've never not enjoyed eating a Tim Tam so much because I'm just so stressed on getting it right. This is a very delicate operation, so I've got to. It's definitely softer in the middle. Alright, so as you can see there, the Tim Tam is entirely impaled on the swizzle stick, so I'll give it a bit of a wiggle around. Right. So there's definitely a bit of a hole in there now. Can't waste any chocolate. Now let's see if that assists the hot beverage with travelling up the Tim Tam, and if I can effectively slam it this time. Oh, immediate reaction. Oh, you can even hear it coming through. We're now reaching the point where the Tim Tam is failing structurally again, but at least this time I did manage to actually get some of the innards liquefied and into my mouth. So thank you again to Mel for her assistance. She's already had her Tim Tam bribe. I guess that Tim Tam's just in the coffee now. But I'm very interested to see if Matty's had any more luck, and I guess we'll find out in just a few minutes.
Welcome back. That's my first seeing that footage, and my goodness. Thank you very much for hanging around, and you're welcome to Kristen W. just saying, lucky I made it in time for this valuable infomercial, which very important. It won't be a few minutes. We'll actually look at Matty's footage between the races. But Matty, how did you find my Tim Tam Slam attempts?
Innards. Are you a spider in disguise by any chance, Madbird? That's not a phrase I hear very often at all to describe anything other than a huntsman trying to kill a housefly.
Sucking out innards. Yeah, I think I tried to sound a little bit too professional about it. Which
I like the vibe. It was a very scientific vibe that I was getting from the program. Just sort of the full scientific method, just trying every possible scenario. It's a little bit like Mythbusters, how they try it as it's written on the tin with the instructions, and then if that doesn't work, they do whatever they possibly can to get it to work. And I'm glad you got it to work in the end.
I did. It was good. I did. It wasn't really shown properly, but I did then slam the Tim Tam into my mouth, and it was very melty and tasted like coffee, which really not a bad thing. But again, I'm gonna have to try it again with the original Tim Tams, because apparently the double coat is just using anything other than original Tim Tams is apparently a no-go. I've been told. So we've both sinned in that aspect, but. Regardless, I think we've both performed a service here today.
We have, and I can't wait for everyone to see my attempt a little bit later on this evening at a Tim Tam Slam.
I can't wait to see it.
It was a very momentous occasion, so I even got dressed up for it and everything. So, will the outfit be worth it? We'll wait and see. We'll find out. But we've got a practice session on our hands at the moment, don't we, Madbird?
We do. A warm-up session as everyone's sort of getting their practice starts out of the way. We've still got a few minutes left in it. So far, it looks like the racing is going to be absolutely incredible. But oh my goodness, as we've just seen several accidents occur. Rambo's in an interesting spot for a start. And they're all gridding up again for another practice start, which I think the start is going to be quite important around here. I think if you get off to a good start, then you'll be in good shape for the race itself, which obviously is a bit of an obvious statement. I think that would go for most tracks, but especially one this short, as we see a bit of bumping and barging in the background there.
It's an interesting first corner, as we see. I think that was goofball antics. No, there was goofball antics in the end, but also decent as we're seeing cars going all over the shop at the moment. They won't want to be doing that for the first race, and that's part of the reason why they do these warm-up sessions, so they can get these little funnies out of their system before they take to the track. And that first corner, as I was saying earlier, it's a great corner, but it's a bloody hard one to go side by side through. So the beauty of it is you can sort of, there's a couple of lines you can take through it when you're racing side by side. Depending on where you position your car and how fast you are and how much faith you have in your tyres, you probably can make a pass work around the outside on sheer confidence alone. But that also depends on whether you trust your fellow racers enough to not just punt you off into the wall, as we're seeing Ziras punt Berto off into the wall on the main straight as Resist, Foley, Roadhog, everyone flies through. And this is just carnage, isn't it?
It is. We just saw Sam Smith have a momentous accident, but don't worry, Sue, he's safe. I was wondering whether, because I was just watching Ziras and Berto going into the turn one from the start, and they were side by side as they came out of it, because Ziras has to really, as we've seen pretty much every track this season, Ziras has got to really sort of back that BMW in to get it to turn properly, whereas Berto is so much more planted, which is a word I've used almost exclusively to
I just need to interrupt you quickly. Sorry, Madbird. This might be the only chance I get to say this all season,
Please.
But Rhodey is currently leading the timesheets.
Oh my goodness, he is indeed with a 51.0, so not the quickest lap in the world, but it is the quickest lap on the track for this session. It's been eclipsed by Resist, so you got in there just in time, Matty.
I felt bad for interrupting, but I figured if there's cars out on the track, there's no time to waste here. I've got to bring this up because it's going to be the only chance we get to see it. We're just going to see a replay now of Berto getting slammed into that outside wall, and watching everyone else trying to weave around Ziras, who they weren't expecting to stop there, and Roadhog just weaved one weave too far.
Yep, that was
should have zigged.
He did. That was a tank slapper, and the tank behaved like a horse in that when you slapped it, it bucked wildly I don't know where I'm going with this. We've got 3 minutes left in this warm-up session. Got Kristen in the chat saying, go Rhodey. Yep, so second night with us tonight is Benjamin Rhodes. So how did he finish in the first one? I don't remember. I don't think it was particularly anything. He's been with us twice before. So for Brands Hatch Grand Prix, so he's actually raced at Brands Hatch twice this season. He got a 15th and a 12th. And then Knock Hill, he picked up a point with a 10th place finish, which was a very attritional race, as we're seeing a slow motion replay of Resist and Berto going side by side through, I think that was the last corner. And then he came 12th, in the second Knock Hill race, did Rhodey. So it's his third night with us tonight. Let's see if he can improve on his best finish of 10th.
He currently has the unique distinction of being the only driver this season to finish 15th in a race, and that, I think, is highly commendable. It's always good, without wanting to sound too facetious about it, it's always good to see a lot of drivers on the track, especially when races aren't super attritional. Everyone can give it a red-hot crack and can finish the race in one piece. And we're just getting one of Stairs' trademark slow zooms in the pit garage onto Rhodey at the moment. And that is just stunning, isn't it? I know we put a lot of work into that livery. That engine bay and the sort of the garage floor and the void underneath into the abyss that we were just looking at briefly there. I'm not sure it had much to do with that. But now this is Greg Turra, who's currently sitting third in this practice session. We know he's been quicker in this Volvo at other times in the season, but I'm not sure how well this track lends itself to the Volvo because it struggles under brakes, is what I've heard a couple of drivers saying, even though it is the most powerful and the lightest car on the grid. And we're just getting another one of those textbook slow zoom-ins into that beautiful Ovlov Racing livery.
God, it looks good, doesn't it? I think that's honestly my favourite livery of the bunch. Just it's perfect. Just the Ovlov Racing Volvo, and then he's gone. I can see his Stairs swearing because he finally got the shot lined up perfectly. And then he decided to leave the pit garage. So we've got a minute left in this warm-up session. With qualifying out of the way, Matty, what are your predictions now?
I'm still going to stick with Berto, I think, because he still looks pretty quick even from that qualifying session. He can get that car hooked up. I've just got to remember, whereabouts did he actually... Was it second that he qualified? Yeah, he did. He ended up qualifying second with Ziras on first. Mm-hmm. I don't know what side of the track pole position is on. I'm 90% sure it'll be on the right head. There will be on the inside, yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
So, as we've been saying a lot, that Renault of Berto's is very hooked up around the corners, and Ziras is, of course, in a rear-wheel drive BMW, which will be a little bit trickier to handle, especially around that corner like that. I think there's a little bit of negative camber around that first Paddock Hill bend. So if Berto can keep his nerve and just hold on tight, he may be in a good spot to, if not take a spot around the outside of turn 1. Be there and just pressure him all the way through Druids, and at the very least we'll get a very, very exciting race for the lead from the straight off the bat, and there's every chance that Berto could leapfrog him in the early stages, and I think I've got a pretty good feeling that that's what's going to happen.
Just got a beautiful shot here of my second favourite livery, Josh Bagsy's Poker Racing Sweat Team Vauxhall, which it must be intimidating when you're coming up behind that car and all you see is the word sweat just plastered across your vision. We have run out of time in the warm-up session, so we'll be jumping over to the race in just a moment as we're getting yet another of the patented slow zooms, and just a gorgeous looking car that has now disappeared as we move over into the race itself.
I'm a big fan of the gentle fade out between the two sets of camera angles that Stairs has provided for us. It really
he outdoes himself,
doesn't it? He does. Every single weekend he outdoes himself. Now we got a race in our hands, I believe. 31 laps. That's a lot. That's probably because it's such a short track. It's the most laps per race we've had so far this season. Congrats to Ziras, the 7-time Apex Rear Wing champion, and a phenomenal effort from him. And the question here is, should the Tim Tam Slam be a new celebration like the Milk at Indy? I give it a resounding yes, but only if we can develop a Tim Tam that doesn't fall apart and doesn't take a meat skewer to be able to suck a hot drink through it.
I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see how you do with yours later on, Matty. Maybe I'm just particularly inept at slamming. As it says there, of course, congratulations to Ziras with his 7th ARW championship. That's main series championship. There are a few mini seasons that we've done, but we're about ready to go here Matty, so I'm going to hand off to you for the grid.
There's a stacked grid for the final round here at Brands Hatch, and Ziras leads them away from pole position on that inside right-hand line, as we were alluding to earlier. So he'll have the absolute best shot of pulling away at the front like he usually does. Lining up next to him on the grid will be Berto out of P2 for the in that Renault. I just noticed his team name is still TBA Incorporated. He's still yet to announce his team name after a full season of competition, and kudos to him for that one. Resist, the Black Flag Industries Racing, will be third in his Honda Accord. Could this be the round he finally gets his first race win this season? Time will tell. Sam Smith, get rowdy Sam Clan. He's starting from fourth on the grid, second row. He has a very strong chance of doing well here from the pointy end of the field. Brenton Foley in the BMW behind him will be starting from P5 next to Desamaj, who's been showing an increase, a good improvement in form in the latter stages of this season. He's starting from P6. Roadhog from 7th in the Audi. He's always a good starter in that all-wheel drive Audi A4. Can he repeat those same antics here at the start of this race? Zahlingeer, Resist teammate, will be starting from 8th next to Goofball Antics from P9 in the Alfa Romeo. Netherelmian will be 10th in his Nissan Primera with Greg Turra starting an uncharacteristically low 11th, and I think that must be a testament to how poorly the Volvo as a car does around this track. Josh Bagsy in the Poker Racing Sweat car will be from 12th on the grid with Tyrrell for Jeff Beta Racing and that Datsun in 13th. iRambo making yet another appearance in the Repsol Volvo will be 14th, and Rody in the Plus Fitness Racing BMW will be starting from 15th, and they're just about set to go, Madbird.
Yeah, bloody well done. I was getting a little bit worried that you might run out of time there, but it ended up being the perfect amount of time, as we have got everybody on the grid and the lights are on. And the lights are out and they're off. So a very good start from Sam, almost up alongside Berto already. And Ziras with the whole shot is already through and has maintained his lead. And Resist has managed to jump up and into second place. So Berto losing 3 places off the start so far. And he's almost dropping the position to Brenton Foley as well, who's going down the inside at Druids. And it looks like he's got the job done. So Berto down 3 places from his start in 5th place.
He's under threat from Roadhog now as well, so I've well and truly cursed him for this race. You are welcome, Berto. But meanwhile, at the front, Ziras is streaking away already. He's got a gap of 1 second over Resist as it stands at the moment, and Resist has started very well. He's up into P2 at the moment, and they're just coming into the final corner now to start what will be lap 2, and that is, I keep forgetting how quick this lap is. It really just over in the blink of an eye, isn't it?
It is. If you look away for the average length of time that a advert takes on YouTube, you will miss about 4.5 laps because YouTube ads are getting ridiculous nowadays. At the back, we've got a Rody fan in the chat, and Rody has grabbed 2 positions off the start, so he's up into 13th place, so keep an eye on that one. But as you can see there, so he's managed to get ahead of both Rambo and Tyrrell. Back at the front, Resist is coming under attack from Sam Smith, and behind him, Brenton Foley is starting to come under attack from Berto as well, as we're almost finished lap 2.
Yeah, these battles are going to start separating themselves into their rightful places. And Sam Smith is, he knocks Resist's rear bumper off in the final corner there. That's going to lose him a lot of time, and Brenton Foley is going to try and have a look around the outside. There's not much he can do there, but he may have a good run onto the main straight, and he's going to duck up the inside now. Can Brenton Foley get up into P3 at the first corner? I think he's going to tuck into behind and just play it safe, which is probably a pretty good call. Sam Smith stays third at the moment. Resist is still second, albeit missing his rear bumper, and Berto is getting stuck into Brenton Foley now. Are these positions going to change? Brenton Foley darts up the inside at the Druids hairpin, doesn't get past. Sam Smith holds the line around the outside, and he will keep that line through the Grain Hill bend.
Yeah, that was a hectic few corners as Berto looked like he was going down the inside of Brenton Foley, who has an off moment on the grass just a little bit. You can see there how close Berto is. Cigarette paper as Berto covers him back off again, but Berto's going to be right on his backside coming up and into the last corner. In fact, he's alongside, and that's a little bit of a bump with his door. Has knocked Brenton Foley off the track. No signs of Berto looking like he wants to give that one back, so he must be happy with it. And he has gained that position up into 4th and now sets off after Sam Smith.
Well, the gap to the lead of Ziras is 3.5 seconds already, so Berto's got a lot of work to do if he wants to find his way up there. But Sam Smith is only 0.7 of a second up the road, so he's a fair chance here to catch up to him, especially if Sam Smith can't get past Resist in second.
Roadhog has managed to get a position off the start. He's up into 6th place ahead of Desamaj, with Brenton Foley just ahead of him after his tussle there with Berto. And you can see there, bumper flying across the track. I think that was Brenton Foley's bumper. from the previous lap when he made some contact with Berto. And a big lock-up from Brenton Foley coming through the last corner as we've got Sam Smith right on the back of Resist.
Speaking of big lock-ups, decent match just straight line the exit of the final corner there, and he's down into 11th place. So that's a huge drop in positions there. Berto's just posted the fastest lap, 48.035, nowhere near the pace we were seeing in qualifying, but that's still a blistering lap, and it means he's the fastest driver on track as it stands at the moment. And he's trying to have a look past Sam Smith, but he just can't get by. Both those drivers in front of him, Sam Smith and Resist, are defending like crazy at the moment, and this just means Ziras can keep streaking away at the front. Let's have a look now at Samaj. There he goes. He didn't really lock up. He just sort of understeered, didn't he? And he still nicked those tyres quite a bit. Didn't get very much damage, if any at all, but the gravel slowing him down was enough to put him into 11th, and Rhodey has spun out. Rhodey was having such a good run there in 13th, and he's been almost, I wonder if he's been turned into the wall there. So he's dropped, I don't think he's lost any spots. Oh, he has now. So Rhodey drops down to 15th, and we're just still looking at Sam Smith at the moment, who is...
Sorry to cut across you. Berto made up here we've got a replay of it. So Berto going up again, almost exactly the same as Brenton Foley, just gives him a tiny bit of a nudge in the braking zone for Clark Curve, which is the last corner, sends him wide and takes the position. So that's two positions in a few laps that Berto has gotten through that last corner with a little bit of contact. Be interested to see if that's looked at, but at the moment he's got Resist definitely right in his sights as they come into the last corner. He's right on the back of the Honda, and he's actually gotten up alongside cleanly through there. Just look at all the grip he's got up the inside of Clark Curve, and he's managed to take that position, that second position back. So he's back to where he started. It only took 7 laps.
That grip that I was talking about and that cornering ability for the Renault is really paying off. But you can just see how badly that start has affected him, because he's now down 3.3 seconds to Ziras in front of him, and we're only 7 laps in. So he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to catch up to him. He's going to have to put in a lot of flawless laps to be able to catch up to the back of that BMW, and Ziras will have to do the same to keep him behind.
Resist just lost that third place position to Sam Smith through the Druids hairpin, and it didn't look like it was a particularly hard fought position. He just almost let Sam through, so I'm not sure what happened there. Just got some footage here of Rambo going off at turn 1, so just misjudged his turn-in point, I think, and yeah, straight backs into the wall. So that'll be a hefty whack of damage, and then comes to a stop. So it's a very tricky corner, turn 1, with that. The crest is before you turn in, so you've got to try to gauge where you're meant to be turning in before you can actually see it. Got a lot of Fs in the chat, always nice to see.
Yeah, it really unsettles the grip, because you're going over that crest and the car kind of lifts up just that little bit, and by the time the weight touches back down to the ground, you're almost at the apex, so you have to turn in very, very early at that corner and make it stick, and it does make it hard to race side by side through there. And as we've been seeing, a few drivers have been coming unstuck there. We're just seeing a replay of what happened to Resist, I believe it was, and he's just gone a little bit wide and had a bad run out of turn 1. Didn't get into the gravel, but he lost enough speed that Sam Smith was able to cut up the inside of him, and that has pushed Sam Smith back into the podium spots.
Yep, so the top 5 all currently sitting as they are in the championship standings. Ziras in first, with Berto in second, Sam Smith third, Resist in fourth, and PBF Race Engineering of Brenton Foley in fifth. So that's kind of interesting, or maybe that's just me, but regardless, Sam Smith back up into the podium positions, which will have the Sam clan very happy. We've got more Fs in the chat from Brute, Kristen W, and Rue F1. So very nice to see all of the Fs, as always. Many respects paid in the chat.
Your respect is always appreciated, and we always appreciate your viewership here at Apex Rear Wing. It's always good to have your company. And we are at approximately 1/3 race distance, 9 laps in. I have no concept of time when we're racing at Brands Hatch Indy, because it's such a short lap. I look up and it's like, oh, we've got another 12 laps since I last looked at the screen. It's like, I don't know if you watched the Bob Ross live streams at all, but you turn it off for 5 minutes and you come back onto it, and he's throwing 3 mountains and a forest on there, and you don't know what he's missed. Oh, the story's gone around. There's chaos at the Druids hairpin. Looks like Rambo's running off the inside of the dirt there. Brenton Foley is having a good run. He was challenging, trying to get past Resist there for a second, and he's dropped back behind Roadhog, which pushes Roadhog up into P5.
Yeah, so equal best position for Roadhog. His best finish for the season was a 5th place, so let's see if he can hang on to that. The Audi seems to be performing quite well despite being a chonky bitch. And we can see here what happened. So it just looks like Resist was maybe braking a little bit earlier, or perhaps Brenton Foley just got sort of caught out being so close behind Resist as he came into Druids and just spat the back out a little bit. So unfortunately, race going a little bit wrong for Brenton Foley. He was up as far as 3rd at one stage, but now back down into 6th.
Yeah, it was either unfortunate positioning for Brenton Foley or really, really good racecraft from Resist, being able to pressure him into a mistake while he was behind. So Brenton Foley, he's got speed in that BMW. It is one of the most powerful cars on the grid, but he's just got to be able to apply that speed properly through those rear tyres. We're seeing a great battle here between Netherelmian and Decimage all the way back for P9. So these are the last 2 points positions being fought for that we're seeing here. And Netherelmian's really got something to prove. He's been struggling to find his way into the points in the last few rounds, and he's always been caught out by just bad luck in the last few races that we've been seeing, and this is going to be a really good chance for him to get past Decimage and find his way up into the higher points position.
Yeah, Decimage just earlier on in practice was saying that he hasn't managed to get too much practice done for tonight. But we have seen in previous rounds he's been quite good at defending when he has to. So you can see there he just places the car sort of in the middle. Or as Nether almost looks like he was losing the back of the car, but he manages to hold on to it. Very well done there for Netherelmian. Decimage just manages to place that car exactly where it shouldn't be. As you can see his bumper there on the left as they came onto the Cooper Straight. But Decimage at the moment seems to have the upper hand in this particular battle. Nether losing just a few car lengths with that moment earlier on in the lap.
It seems like
Rody is around.
every camera angle we look at here has a different piece of debris on it. As we see, Rody is around indeed. And there's already some lap traffic happening. I think Zahlingeer's dropped off the field quite a bit. I just saw Berto going past him for P2. So I wasn't sure if Zahlingeer had made a miraculous recovery, but it looks like he's actually fallen back into the throes of lap traffic. And Netherelmian, as we see, is still trying to get past Decimage, who's doing a phenomenal job of defending. You can see he takes such a tight inside line there for Druids, and that's going to cost him a lot of speed there. But as long as it keeps Netherelmian behind him, that's the main thing as far as he's concerned.
The entire track is really sort of corner exits. Like there's really not too much opportunity to take advantage of a good exit if the car ahead of you hasn't completely stuffed it up. So as we can see there, Nether with a lot of pace down the Cooper Straight, but just nowhere to go with it really. His best bet is going to be to try to hang behind, although he's cut up the inside and he's going to be alongside as they come onto the start-finish straight, the Brabham Straight that is. But he's just cost himself any variety of slipstream, and it would be sort of suicide to stick your nose down at the first turn. And he's thought better of it, try to get a good run out of turn 1 down onto the Druids hairpin. That's a pretty common place to overtake, as we've seen Decimage early on the anchors and Netherelmian doing well to keep out of the back of him.
Great racecraft from these two, just watching them trying to jostle for position all the way around this
Roadhog and Brenton Foley at the last turn. Roadhog had a big moment, and they're now side by side as they come onto the start-finish straight. Sorry to cut across you, Matty. So Roadhog looking like he wants to keep to the outside. They're about as side by side as you can possibly get. Roadhog has managed to, he's left it about as late as he can to start turning in. Brenton Foley managed to keep it up the inside without any contact, and Goofball Antics is looking at this and licking his lip. He wants that position, but it looks like Brenton Foley's managed to get that position done. Very well done.
I think Roadhog was pretty comfortable in his four-wheel drive there and its ability to carry him around the outside of that first paddock hill bend, but he just didn't put his car in the right spot to be able to capitalise on that extra speed he would have carried, so he had to concede the spot to Brenton Foley there, and he's going to start pulling away ahead in P5. And he's had a little bit of a slide there through the final corner. Is Roadhog going to get a good run and try and challenge around the outside? No, he's having a look, trying to duck up the inside. He thinks he's got pace over Brenton Foley, and he's just trying to find a way past him. But Brenton Foley is making that BMW as wide as he possibly can down the main straight. And Roadhog is going to have a look up the inside, but he can't do anything here.
I was going to say the BMW was going to struggle for grip through the first turn, whereas that four-wheel drive Audi should be able to stick like glue. And it did, but unfortunately it wasn't sticking in a position where it was able to make any positions up. So still down in 6th place there for Rody. At the front, the gap has not come down much at all. It's come down about a 10th since the last time I looked. Berto 2.7 seconds down on Ziras. So Ziras seems to have control at the moment. And Sam Smith a kind of distant 3 seconds back on Berto. So looks like a comfortable third place for Sam if he doesn't bugger it up. And Roadhog, just as you can see, that Audi, you can almost hear it straining as it tries to get out of its couch and get on down the straight. It is, of course, chonky. And you can see Brenton Foley getting a little bit sideways there, but managing to keep the car facing in the right direction, which is something he struggled with earlier in the season.
That battle between DSMAJ and NetherRealm that we were keeping tabs on earlier has unfortunately ended with NetherRealm. What's happening here, Madbird? DSMAJ.
DSMAJ has spun around, so he's lost it coming down towards Druids, and that's going to give Bagsy in the Poker Racing sweat car, there he goes, that 9th position. So DSMAJ hangs on to that last points paying position just a little bit too wide, and he snaps across the track and then overcorrects, and actually did quite well to keep out of the fence there. So well done to DSMAJ, still holding on to that last points paying position. NetherRealmian down in 13th, so I wonder what happened there. And we actually have missed Tyrrell DNFing from the race as well. So a few movers and shakers down towards the end of the grid. At the front, everything seems to be pretty steady.
I was just watching the replays from NetherRealming to figure out what happened, and he did almost the exact same thing that DSMAJ did. He was starting to drift off the back of that red car just a little bit, and he was pushing hard to catch up, and he just spun to the inside of the track at Druids. We're going to see a replay of it now. So Stairs has gone and found it for us. He has a little bit of a lock up. He's lost a bit of time, and he's already sideways going through Paddock Hill Bend. He tries to correct it, gets a wheel in the gravel, and he just spears himself head on into the fence, and he has a pit to repair damage as a result of that one, because he just lost his handling characteristics, and that's putting him down in 13th place. So
yeah, that was he nearly saved that slide as well. Like it was so close to being an all right turn 1 for him, but then it wasn't all of a sudden. So Brenton Foley, meanwhile, coming through turn 1, and now the Druids hairpin of turn 2 is right on the back of Resist. So some decent pace tonight by the looks for Brenton Foley, just some bad luck. But he is now pressuring for that 4th position.
Yeah, as the season's been wearing on, he's been getting more and more comfortable with that BMW, and although he still makes the occasional mistake, he's very, very fast now, and I think he's able to leverage that rear-wheel drive BMW almost to the best of his abilities, and it's good to see him back up with some good pace. And I just want to check in with the leaders again, because we haven't had to talk about them for a while. Berto has brought that gap down to 2.5 seconds or thereabouts at the front. So he's very, very slowly clawing it back, and that was over about, I think, 10 laps is what it took him to get it down to that margin. So if he keeps up this rate of knots, I don't think he's going to be able to catch him. The gap's only going to come down to about 1.5 seconds. So we'll see what happens. If either of these drivers makes a mistake, it could make things very interesting at the front. But we'll just see as Brenton Foley is trying to have a look around the outside of Resist into the Surtees corner, I believe that is. No, that's through the Graham Hill band along to the Cooper Straight now. So Brenton Foley's got his nose well and truly buried into the void where Resist rear bumper once was. And he's going to try his best to slide past, but he's sliding through the final corner there. And that usually doesn't bode too well for his lap times.
No, and just behind them is Roadhog, who at any other track I think would have just fallen away as soon as they got past him. But the shorter lap is not costing that Audi nearly as much as it usually would. So he's doing quite well to hang on to the back of these two. As you can see, he's got the best view of this battle ahead of him. So if these two come to blows and maybe knock each other or lose a bit of time battling, Roadhog is in a decent position to pick up a couple of spots here. Just got Brute and Hans in the chat both giving us a bunch of Fs, and then Brute saying, "Damn it, Ziras, stop winning." I mean, he's doing his best. He doesn't do any practice. He just rocks up on the night, and the only practice he does is during the practice session before the races go live. So he's pretty much doing his best. And we've got Rue F1 with a hashtag Team Ziras. I think Rue F1, I saw you commenting on a couple of our videos saying that you love Ziras. So it's always nice to see some Ziras fans. It's certainly a good time to be a Ziras fan, having just wrapped up his 7th championship.
Winning is his business, and business is a booming for Ziras.
Roadhog right on the back of these two. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I was about to get to. Roadhog is really pushing well. He's going fantastically around his Brands Hatch Indy circuit, and like you were alluding to earlier, I think he's adopting the Bradbury strategy, where he just sits behind them and waits for them to make a mistake, and just charges on through and picks up the pieces there. So Roadhog potentially on for P4 if he can find a way past these guys, because Resist is doing his best to defend against Brenton Foley. and Brenton Foley is losing a lot of his normal pace trying to get past, and Roadhog is almost going to have a look up the inside. There's not really much he can do there because Brenton Foley's got so much pace. He's going to pull along the side. Surely you don't do that at Paddock Hill, and he backs out of it.
He thinks, but then he's lost it, and they touch just enough. Can Roadhog get down the inside at Druid's hairpin? It looks like he's going to be able to dive down the inside. He's just a little bit too far behind. Brenton Foley does leave him the room, and Berto's and Roadhog's are able to go around the inside. Little bit of a door knock as they exit the corner, and Brenton Foley manages to hang on to that position, but that was some pretty close action there between those two, and Goofball Antics right behind them. He's if that's the Bradbury strategy, what's the strategy for waiting for the guy ahead of you to fail at the Bradbury strategy? Because that's what Goofball Antics is doing, just waiting for there to be a big accident ahead, and he can pick up a bunch of spots. But Roadhog, with Brenton Foley having a very bad run through the Clark curve, the last corner, he's up the inside as they come down towards turn 1. He's going to try to hang on to it. He gets to brake a lot later. In fact, might have been too late. No, it's perfect. He parks it on the apex. Brenton Foley has to try to cut up and around the inside, but isn't able to do so. So Roadhog with an excellent overtake through turn 1.
And Goofball Antics will be licking his lips watching this because he had to slow Brenton Foley right the way up, did Roadhog, to be able to make that pass stick. And now Goofball Antics is in a pretty good spot because as long as these guys keep slowing each other down, that's only going to bode well for his chances to cut his way through the field. Meanwhile, while that was happening, Berto set the fastest lap of the race up at the front, and the gap between those two guys is actually extended. So Ziras must have been extending that gap in the last few laps that we haven't been checking in, and that's now 3 seconds. So Berto's got a lot of work to do if he wants to get anywhere near that car. Sam Smith is a further 2.7 seconds off the back of Berto, so those 3 podium spots are looking pretty set as it is at the moment. Roadhog, meanwhile, still holding off Brenton Foley. He's actually trying to have a inside into Paddock Hill. He nearly spins out on the exit, nearly did a decent match, but he's able to make that move stick, and he's back up into P5. What a move that was.
Yeah, so Roadhog back down into P6, but he didn't lose too much time, actually. He's managed to slot himself back in between Brenton Foley and Goofball Antics. He must be loving this scrap, as they're now shooting on down the Cooper Straight towards Surtees Corner. Just some excellent driving from both of them. And Roadhog going to try his level best to get back up the back of Brenton Foley coming through the Clark curve. I think Brenton Foley's tyres must be going off because he's just struggling quite a lot through that last corner, and Roadhog almost bump drafting him as they come down towards the first turn, but he's a little bit too far back to try to go for a pass this time around. Brenton Foley backing it in. If I was Roadhog, I'd just be waiting for Brenton Foley to make a mistake, but they've only got 5 laps left in this race, Matty.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same as Brenton Foley locks up, goes wide, almost makes a mistake trying to correct himself. He's still got the inside line into the Graham Hill bend, but geez, Brenton Foley's going to be sweating quite a bit at the moment, trying to hold off from Roadhog as it stands. And I think Roadhog's best opportunity here is just to sit behind Brenton Foley for the rest of the race and either pressure him into making a mistake or make a lunge on that final 2 laps to make it stick. And Brenton Foley's almost making it pretty easy for him, isn't he? So look at Goofball Antics at the moment, just still trying to find a way to get amongst this. He's still sitting at the back in 7th behind this battle of the couple of cars in front of him at the moment. Meanwhile, Resist is saying, thank you very much, lads, I'll be off. And he is 1.5 seconds up the road.
Yeah, so, a big moment from Brenton Foley coming out of turn 1, which gives Roadhog a look up the inside at Druids. That's a big dive. Brenton Foley leaves the door open for him, though, and Roadhog manages to drive up the inside, but Brenton Foley's going to have the inside line for Graham Hill Bend. Can Roadhog drive around the outside? He can, but can't quite hang on to that lead, so he has to slot back in again. This is an excellent battle.
This is fantastic racing, and it's so good to see Roadhog getting stuck in because he's been struggling so much this whole season. That all-wheel drive Audi just hasn't had what it takes to get around most of these tracks quickly. But here it is really shining at Brands Hatch, and I just can't wait to see what he can do in race 2. But there'll be a bit of traffic around, and it is a very narrow track here at Brands Hatch, so that might prove to be a little bit trickier. But we've still got 4 laps of this race to go before then. Roadhog still in P6, just trying to find away Brenton Foley, who sends it all the way sideways through the Paddock Hill bend, and he still holds on to P5. But just for the time being, is he going to hold it through Druids? Yes, he is. Brenton Foley runs a little bit wide through that hairpin, but he's able to hold the position on the outside line and keep it going through Graham Hill Bend. And this is just unbelievable, isn't it, Madbird?
This is some fantastic battling. Unfortunately, there's not too much action out the front. Ziras has extended that advantage to 3.3 seconds, so Berto doesn't seem to have an answer for him. Roadhog, however, and Brenton Foley. Oh, as Brenton Foley goes around! So Roadhog is through and into 5th place as Brenton Foley is recovering to the track. He's going to come back onto the track in 7th as Greg Turra is quite a bit away in 8th. So Roadhog at the moment looking safe in that 5th position if he can hold on to it. Goofball Antics is not too far behind him, but hasn't been able to catch up or really close that gap unless it's been due to a battle between Roadhog and Brenton Foley. So at the moment, Roadhog looking like a very good, well-deserved 5th position. Brenton Foley just with one of those late errors with probably some very worn tyres on the back of that BMW.
Yeah, Goofball's got a bit of pace, it looks like. He's hanging onto the back of Roadhog quite well. We're just seeing a replay from Roadhog's point of view. And, geez, he would have been happy to see that. Brenton Foley spinning off in front of him at the final corner, just allowing him to go, thank you very much. Slide on through, P5, if you don't mind. Goofball Antics, meanwhile, is still sitting on the back. He's just not close enough to get a draft off the back of that Audi. But he's got 2 laps to see if he can make his way up into P5. They're getting a little bit closer to the Paddock Hill bend, but Roadhog knows how to defend through that corner at this point. He's practiced it plenty enough with Brenton Foley, and now he's going to let those talents fly on Goofball Antics to try and hold him off as Goofball runs a little bit wide to the Druid's hairpin. That's going to compromise his turn speed, but he may be able to get a better run out of the corner, even though it's a short run down to the Graham Hill bend. So Roadhog holds on to 5th as it is at the moment.
At the front, Ziras has just started the last lap of this race. Lap 31, the gap is now 3.6 seconds, so barring a huge accident on his behalf, it looks as if he's got the win wrapped up once again, so looks good for him. The only position really in doubt at the moment is that 5th place position between Goofball Antics and Roadhog. The gap is ballooned out to about a second now. Goofball isn't actually in that shot anymore, so Goofball with maybe a messy last corner, I'm not sure what happened there, but he's lost out to Roadhog, and Roadhog seems to be like looking confident and comfortable in that 5th position. But here is Ziras coming around the last corner. That is not a man in front of him. That is D-Samaj, who is lap traffic. But Ziras is going to cross the line to record his the win for the first race of tonight here at Brands Hatch Indy. And Berto did his level best to pressure him, but didn't really seem to have an answer, and comes home in 2nd. Sam Smith comes home in 3rd. So as they are in the championship standings is how they finished so far tonight. What happened? We need a replay of that. Resist must have had a big issue at the last corner. Roadhog manages to swoop through. As I was about to say, Resist finishes where he finished, where he is in the championship. And, he did. Oh no! It looked like he was. He did it like Greg Turra did the first time we came here. It looked like he was putting the Q in the rack and just sort of coasting around to take home his 4th place, and just dipped a tyre and shot it across into the wall. So Roadhog, after an incredible race with Brenton Foley, has paid dividends with a 4th place finish for Roadhog. So incredible work there. Resist ended up coming home in 5th. Goofball Antics in 6th. Brenton Foley 7th, Greg Turra 8th, D-Samaj 9th, and Josh Bagsy in 10th. And Rhodey, who's got a couple of fans, only just misses out on the points finishes in 11th. So, my goodness, what a finish to that race, Matty.
Shame for Resist. Can we please get some Fs in the chat, folks? We will do our best to pass those on because we definitely need those onto our fellow drivers. Thank you very much, Real F1, for obliging. But I do have our podium sitters in the box for the post-race interviews for race 1, and we're going to start with 3rd place Sam Smith. Good to see you back with us after your microphone wasn't working last week, mate. How is the Peugeot going around this Brands Hatch Indy track?
I'm pretty happy, yeah. I had a really good battle at the start with Resist, so I almost thought I did what I did in the DRM, so I was pretty close to taking him out. But it was good. It was a good race.
Yeah, it was a pretty interesting scrap you're having there in the first half, and then you're able to streak away. What's this track like in terms of side-by-side racing? Because there's a lot of tricky braking zones and whatnot. Do you think it's a track where you can sort of make up positions in the reverse grid race?
Well, it's going to be chaos, I think, in all honesty. I think it's going to be a big crash in the first, after the sweeper.
Well, hopefully it's not something you get yourself involved in, and hopefully you can make your way unscathed through at least that first lap. Because that hill bend as well, that first corner has been really, really tricky. We've seen a lot of guys going off there. How are the tyres going for you by the end of the race?
Oh, they're pretty cooked, but I'm not quick enough to keep up with the 2 guys in front. But my front left was pretty much half used, running at like 120 degrees the whole time, 110 degrees.
Yep, that'll just about do it. That'll cook any tyre you put under that sort of condition. Well, you're able to hold off and get third place despite that. So congratulations once again. Second place, Berto. You had the outside line to start with, so it was a pretty rough go, and you were able to recover those few spots that you lost on the opening there. So what happened on that first lap for you, Berto?
It's just a shocking start. A whole lot of wheel spin. That was pretty much it. And then getting through the field, like you sort of said earlier, it's not an easy track to pass at. You've really got to be ballsy to make any moves around here. So fortunate I was able to get through, and then Ziras and I were just looking at the lap times, looking at the gaps, and man, it was tense.
Hypothetically, if you didn't have the start that you did and you were able to hold on to the back of Ziras's bumper through that first lap, do you reckon you would have been able to stick with him for the whole of the race?
Yeah. I think that would have been we'd both be very sweaty at the end of it if I hadn't have stuffed up the start. That would have been a really close race.
Well, we're just seeing in the comments now confirmation that you have sealed second place in the points as a result of your performance here, and as a consequence, Sam Smith has locked down third. So congratulations on your second place in the race and in the championship, Berto.
Thank you. I'm just out of that race. I just want to shout out Roadhog, because fourth place, that's a great effort. He's going to be dangerous in the reverse grid.
I'm not sure if you saw what happened at the end, but he was running fifth. He had a really strong battle with Brenton Foley, and he looked to be a shoo-in to get fifth, and then Resist just made an unfortunate error on the final corner, sent himself into the inside wall, and Roadhog took fourth place with, I think, 3 car lengths to the finish line. So it was a crazy finish there.
That'll explain all the cries of Resist in Discord.
Well, let's see what sort of chaos we've got in store for the next race. Congratulations to you once again, Berto. And now onto our race winner and our champion, of course, Ziras. Well done, mate. It was a dominating win. How does that BMW with the rear-wheel drive go around this Brands Hatch Indy circuit?
Some places it's stable, some places it's not. Really, it's all about just measuring what you're doing with your right foot. So quite a tense race with Berto. We had our lap times where there was nothing between us. So I'm quite sweaty as a result.
We were watching Brenton Foley, who's one of the fellow BMW drivers, starting to have issues with, I think it was tyre drop-off towards the end. Is that something that you can attest to as well?
They came back after a little bit. Like, I did a couple laps that were a couple tenths slower, and they seemed to come back. They stuck around 100 or less, so I think I looked after them pretty well.
And of course, we've got the reverse grid race coming up next. You'll be starting from 14th on the grid after Tyrrell DNF, I believe there. You're always pretty remarkable in your ability to pass the entire field on your way back up to the front in the second race of the round, any time we're out on the track. But is this track going to be a little bit harder to make those passing moves around?
Absolutely. It's very thin, and there's really no ideal place to make a pass. So luckily, they are hard corners to get right, so that I expect a lot of people will just go wide or make mistakes.
Well, best of luck to you, Ziras. Hope you can make your way up into the upper echelons of the field once again, and congratulations on your win.
Thank you.
That is your podium sitters for race 1, ladies and gentlemen. Madbird, what did you reckon of that race?
Absolutely incredible, especially Roadhog and Brenton Foley. That was a gripping battle. I couldn't look away from that thing. That was, every now and then I thought, I better quickly scrub up to the front of the field and make sure that the gap hasn't come down at all. And nope, it hasn't. All right, straight back again. And that was just 2 very, very different cars having a great scrap. I hope that we get to see something similar in the second race, Matty. What did you think?
Yeah, I really wasn't expecting that finish there. It was fantastic to see Roadhog doing so well. And here was me thinking, 5th is a great result for him. That'll be fantastic. You know, it's good to see that he's able to steer that all-wheel drive Audi around here. And then all of a sudden, Resist spun it into the wall on the inside. So there's been a few spots where drivers have been making errors just sort of all over the place. It just goes to show you how tricky a track Brands Hatch really is. And that throws an air of unpredictability into the mix, doesn't it?
It does. It might look pretty simple and sort of like an old phone handset or an adult toy, but to actually drive it is a little bit trickier. So, but now I think we have got the third part of our Tim Tam Slam adventures. Before we jump over to that, if you are watching, make sure you say hello to us in the chat for the last round of the season. Make sure you give us a thumbs up here on the YouTube and subscribe if you haven't already. It does help us a lot, and of course it does take a lot of effort to put these streams on. So if you feel like giving us $1 or $2 a month via Patreon, that is absolutely welcomed. But Matty, I think we've got some footage of your very fine self.
We certainly do. It was a bit of a different strategy to what you employed in putting together the video package. I tried to make mine a little bit more cinematic, artistic, and without a huge amount of commentary, it just sort of lets the awkwardness speak for itself. But there's a nice music track over it to help filter that a little bit. So strap yourselves in, folks. This is part 3 of our Tim Tam Slam escapades.
Well, it's been an exciting year of racing, hasn't it? And my, hasn't the time flown. We've been sitting back in the box just talking about our favourite drivers and Tim Tam Slams, and constantly alluding to the fact that I've never actually done one in my life. And I thought, what better time to do my first Tim Tam Slam than the final race of the season. I'm getting all dressed up. It's going to be a really nice experience here. I'm trying to make sure this is the best Tim Tam Slam I can possibly have. Well, bon appetit. Or as they say in France, something else. I don't speak French. Ow, I just burnt myself.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's like literally boiling water.
I need to my face.
Do we have to start again?
No. I'm gonna try this with one more Tim Tam. Well, that worked perfectly, didn't it? And now I can successfully check the Tim Tam Slam off my to-do list. Next time you see me, I'll be putting Macca's trays under the rear wheels of my car and doing skids in the car park. Until then, we've got a race to commentate, so let's head back up to the commentary box, shall we?
I don't think I've ever been so aroused in my life, Matty. That was my goodness. I didn't think it was possible to make a Tim Tam Slam look enticing, but my goodness, you managed it.
And believe me, I try my best to make it look as unattractive as possible, especially when I spilt boiling hot chocolate all over the front of myself. That was pretty good. Yeah.
I'm impressed that you have staff.
I do. I live in a house with quite a few people, one of which, who is operating one of the cameras, Bridget, is in the same media degree as me at uni, and yeah, it was just a bit of fun. I sort of waited for everyone to come downstairs, like, hey, you want to be roped into a dumb project? And like, oh yeah, we'll help you do uni stuff, no worries. And like, this isn't for uni.
It should be. I think if they would be hard pressed not to give you full marks if you if we're looking at Chapman's kiosk in the distance. The possibly you could get some Tim Tams there, and there's some very excited Tim Tam Slam fans with their arms up in the foreground. But absolutely beautifully done, Matty. I am underwhelmed by my own efforts having watched yours. So bravo.
Oh, thank you very much. You're too kind, Madbird. And to answer the perennial question of is it a Tim Tam Slam practical? Absolutely not. It sucked. I went through 3 Tim Tams trying to get that right, and that final shot, if you hadn't deduced it already, I basically turned the cameras off, necked me hot chocolate, and then just made a feint at it. I sort of just pretended, if you will, that I was necking the last of that hot chocolate. So it's a struggle. It really is. I'm not sure where it caught on. It's one of those strange Australian traits, like doing the nut bush or jacking yourself when Eagle Rock comes on. No one knows why we do it, but we do, and we're proud of it. So there it is, folks. The humble Tim Tam Slam.
Hans Brunwick in the chat just saying that is possibly the best segment he's ever seen. I can only agree. And Brute saying the Macca's trays under the tyres and doing skids should surely be next season's antics. I guess if we can figure out a way to do it safely and legally, which I'm not sure if either of those are possible, I'd be down with I'll get the 6 out there. the beast, the Mazda 6 with its squeaky suspension. And of course, we just did have an extended sponsorship from Pirelli, which have given us no money. And Hans Brunswick in the chat just saying Pirelli #1 in uncontrolled tyre failures.
Yeah, Pirelli and tyres exploding at Silverstone. Name a more iconic duo.
Man, what an end to that race it was. Speaking of hot ends to that first race we've just had now, that end to that Silverstone race. My goodness, I'm going to be very interested to see if that happens again, like if that persists into the second race at Silverstone.
I don't think it will, because the biggest reason as to why that happened is because everyone was pushing their luck as it was with the one-stop strategy with the medium tyres. And when that early safety car came out when Kvyat crashed at Maggots, that sort of forced everyone's hand a little bit, and everyone thought, okay, we're going to pit a little bit early and just try and push an extra few laps with these medium tyres and see where it gets us. And for a few of those drivers, where it got them was tyre explosions and pit stops and being forced to the back of the field. Because the next race, they'll be using softer compounds of tyres. Pirelli decided that already, so that teams couldn't just reuse the data and the strategy that they used in the first Grand Prix. I think it's going to remove a little bit of that guesswork. There's going to be a little bit less of that risk, and hopefully we see some interesting two-stop strategies next weekend.
Well, hopefully. For tonight, though, we've still got one more race to go, and I reckon it's going to be bloody interesting because it's the reverse grid race. So the reverse of the results from the first race. So Ziras will be starting very near the back, and first place, also pole position, will be, was it Rambo? I think it might have been Rambo who came home in 14th place. With Tyrrell, of course, DNFing, so he didn't complete 75% of the race, so he will be starting from the very back. But I think it was Rambo that finished in 14th and thus will be starting on pole position. So that'll certainly be interesting, won't it, Matty?
Maybe he'll win it. We do know that's a race-winning car in the hands of Lewis Wedding, of course, so you never
Here
know.
As well,
maybe
at Brands Hatch.
At Brands Hatch, indeed. And we're just seeing on special there, Nescafe Blend 43. On special, that's a white concrete wall. On special this week at Coles, only $420.69, and that is that's a dank bargain, kids.
That is a dank bargain. I believe D-Smasher's reason for having that on the back of his car was the idea that only old people would drive Peugeots, and old people apparently like Nescafe Special Blend, and they also like the Herald Sun and Auto Trader magazine. And there's a little Top Gear reference there on the side of the Larson's Biscuits reference, and another one upstairs is patented slow zooms. This time a little bit of an interesting angle through the netting on the side, but now we're zooming in on a lovely piece of arse.
It's a great bit of paint job design, isn't it, on the side of that door? It's a shame that we can't really see the left-hand side of that car. Maybe we'll have to see if we can get stairs to get us a slow-mo zoom in on the other door. Of course, our good friends at Penniston Oils are also sponsoring that D-Samaj Peugeot, so hopefully we can get them a little bit of airtime as well.
Absolutely. I just had a sort of out-of-body experience where I imagined somebody, they were bored on a Wednesday night, just searching, BTCC. I wonder if there's a BTCC Automobilista mod. And then they search BTCC Automobilista. First result is a stream, and they're like, this might be like informative, whether this is a decent mod or not. And they open the stream, and the first thing they see is arse written across the screen in big friendly yellow letters. So if you are that person, then welcome. I hope you're enjoying it. And as you can see there on the left-hand side, as alluded to by Matty, is a lot of all the cameras are on the wrong side of the circuit to see it, but there is a lovely Penniston Oils sponsorship on the other side.
We should get a good look as it comes around the right-hander here in the final corner, and there it is, folks. Penniston Oils, one of our proud sponsors here on the D-Smash car, and that all of a sudden is the Jeff Vader racing machine of Tyrrell. Stairs in the director's box, really keeping us on our toes here, mate. Well done.
Yeah, but you got to give Michelin some airtime. We gave Pirelli some airtime earlier. I wonder if there's any other tyre manufacturers elsewhere down the grid.
I just noticed that he's got Michelin on the door, but he's got Dunlop on the tyres themselves.
Oh, that's a faux pas, isn't it? If you've sold sponsorship space on your car to one tyre manufacturer, but then you're not actually confident enough to use those tyres on your car. So I like that picture of the Michelin Man because it sort of looks like he's gesturing at something, but what he's gesturing at is the door handle. This is where you enter the car.
On your discussion point earlier, where you were saying you were hoping that...
Speaking of hands, sorry.
That you were saying that somebody... Oh, just quickly, Resist has been disqualified. Hopefully it doesn't carry over into the race. But as you were saying, when you were hoping that somebody would be looking for some quality BTCC Automobilista content, they'd click on and they'd see arse across the screen. I was sort of secretly hoping that someone would have the exact same idea. They'd be looking for some quality Automobilista BTCC content, and they'd find this live stream and they'd click on, and they would see me holding a martini glass with hot chocolate saying "Bon appetit," or as they say in France, something else. I don't speak French.
or saying we've got a race to commentate. Let's go back up to the box, shall we? And then sort of looking over your shoulder alluringly at the camera, which certainly made me question my sexual orientation. So here we are for race number 2 tonight, and the final race of the season, Matty.
You can't hear it, man, but I'm winking at you.
Oh, I can hear the squelch of your eyelids.
Yes.
That's not a sentence I ever thought I would say. 31 laps as with the first race. Watch for mayhem as drivers try for a good result in the very last race of the season. And what a race for the last race of the season this is going to be. It's a tight, twisty track. Like Ziras was saying in his interview, it's a very narrow track. Not too many easy places to make an overtake stick. So I reckon coming out of turn 1 on the way down to Druids, we're going to have a massive pile-up, as Sam Smith predicted. But in the meantime, we have got the grid for race number 2. Opposite results of the first race. Rambo on pole position in just his 4th race with us in these cars. Can he manage to hang on towards the front of the grid? Netherelmian, who was having a great scrap with Decimage in the first race until he took himself out at turn 1. He starts from 2nd. Zahlingeer, who had a uncharacteristically bad race in the first in race 1. So can he perhaps look for a podium position at the end of this one and the end of the season? Roadie, we've got some Roadie fans in the audience. Make sure you let him know that you're here. He is starting from 4th place. Was just off the points in the first race. Josh Bagsy in the Poker Racing Sweat starting from 5th with Decimage right behind him in 6th, so that'll be a taster battle to look at. Greg Turra in the Volvos, which seem to be a little bit down on power, starting from 7th place. Brenton Foley in 8th behind, so maybe a decent finish for Brenton Foley if he can get some overtaking done early. Goofball Antics starting from 9th place, with Resist starting from 10th after a unfortunate last lap, last corner incident, which saw him lose 4th place to the man behind him in Roadhog. That Audi managing to be quite quick around this Brands Hatch circuit. Sam Smith starting from 12th with Berto, who has locked down 2nd place in the championship. Sam Smith locking down 3rd. Ziras, our championship winner, starting from 2nd to last on the grid, and Tyrrell starting from last.
We're all lined up, ready to go now. The lights are on. We're waiting to get underway, and they are off. It is a pretty decent start from Irama, but Netherlands and Rocky is going to get the whole shot. He's going to slice straight through the middle of that gap, and he's going to be the first one. But look at Brenton Foley around the outside. He's already up in a P3. Brenton Foley has made up 5 spots before the first corner alone. Netherelmian now trying to have a look up the inside of Rhodey, and Rhodey shoots wide on the entrance of Druids, and Netherelmian will get that move done. So Nether up into 1st place. Rhodey behind him in 2nd, with Brenton Foley, of all people, right behind them in 3rd.
Yeah, an incredible start from Rhodey. Just the seas parted for him and he went straight through and into the lead. He's still right on the back of Netherelmian, as Zahlingeer has had a bit of a poor start. He's lost a position off the start to Brenton Foley, who's managed to gain 5. As you were saying, Matty, incredible start from Brenton Foley. And where are our big movers? So Ziras and Berto still down in 13th and 14th. So they've only gained 1 position and between them, and that was Ziras gaining it over Berto.
Yeah, knowing Netherelmian, we saw him last time out. He got a pretty good start in the reverse grid race, and he really defended for the life of him. He actually gave Ziras a bit of a headache in that first race. We're just seeing Brenton Foley going past Rhodey now, making his way up in the 2nd position, pushing him out wide, but Rhodey's still side by side. He's got the line into the Graham Hill bend. and Rhodey's going to keep that spot for the time being. So Rhodey's having a great scrap with Brenton Foley at the moment. But once these guys start catching up to Nether in the lead, I reckon Nether is going to make it really difficult for them to get past him as well. Zahlingeer trying to capitalise on this battle for second at the moment and make his way up into the point end of the field, with Rambo sitting behind in fifth, holding off the other Volvo of Greg Turra. Meanwhile, Roadhog is up 4 spots at the moment, and he's already trying to make his way up into P6. He's 7th as it stands right now, but Roadhog is taking advantage of that all-wheel drive and just trying to push up as early as he possibly can to get spots.
Yeah, Rhodey just lost, as you see there, he's just lost that last podium position to Zahlingeer, but he's still in a position to attack if he's able to into the Druid's hairpin, but not quite. Meanwhile, behind them, don't look now, Matty, because we've got 2 Ovlovs right alongside each other on track, and I can't be responsible for what's going to happen in your pants when you see that. Roadhog, however, right behind them, just looking to pick up those pieces. That Audi seems to have a lot of pace around here.
Yeah, it certainly does. It's really, really quick, and you better believe we've got a spare change of pants next to me at the moment for these Volvo battles, because Roadhog is all over the back of them as well. And if there's anything better than a battle with 2 Volvos, it is a battle with 2 Volvos and Roadhog. Let me tell you about that. And Resist is sitting on the back of those at the moment. Brenton Foley, fastest lap, 48.865. So he is a man on a charge, trying to hunt down Netherelmian at the front of the field.
Yeah, and they've got quite a bit of a gap down to the next position. So they got about 2. So, as Rhodey's through into the podium positions again, so a bad first turn for Zahlingeer, who's dropped a lot of positions. You can see there he's lost out to both the Ovlovs and to Roadhog. So Rhodey's back up into the podium position.
I think he's having issues. He's fallen down to 11th position. He's pulling off the track now. I think he's having just issues. Oh, he is!
Berto's around at Graham Hill Bend, and Zahlingeer has parked it off the side of the track. So yeah, must be having some sort of technical issues. You can see him there just struck on the inside of Graham Hill Bend. Berto recovering in effectively last place because Zahlingeer is the only man behind him. He has gotten going now, actually, Zahlingeer. At the front, Brenton Foley looking to attack Netherelmian into the first turn, but he's unable to do so. Netherelmian doing very well to defend, although he goes a little bit wide, and Brenton Foley's through and into the lead. Netherelmian looks like he's going to try to fight it around the outside, but is not able to, and Brenton Foley just has a little bit more pace off that Druid's hairpin and is able to take off and into the lead of this race.
In the chat saying, yes, Rhodey, block like your life depends on it, but he's having a bit of a struggle down in 6th at the moment. He's lost a few more spots to Roadhog and Sam Smith, who are battling for P4, and look who is looming behind Rhodey. It is our man Ziras, who is up 7 spots from where he started and looking to make a charge. This is what happened to Berto. He got a little bit of contact with Ziras around the Druid's hairpin. He's just trying to make his way down now around the outside of Ziras. Did he make any contact with anyone? No, he just dipped a wheel into the dirt. It's such a common ailment that all these drivers are facing here at Brands Hatch Indy, and it just has the potential to ruin your race in an instant, doesn't it, Madbird?
It does. Greg Turra, it looks like Zahlingeer has DNF from the race, so unfortunate for him. I think he must have been having some issues, as you suggested. Greg Turra had a big accident. That's why the 2 Ovlovs aren't battling anymore. So he's down in 13th place with Resist. Resist having a technical issue, perhaps, because he has just suddenly disappeared off my screens and is showing us sitting in 14th. So at the front, and Resist has DNF from the race. So not sure what happened there to Resist, but a bad couple of races. I mean, 5th place in the first one, but he would be kicking himself after that last lap incident. Here is what happened. Whoa! Looked like there was a big swapper from Rhodey as he was battling with Rambo, and Greg Turra just kind of instinctively responded to it, and looks like he's lost out.
Yeah, we're just seeing Rhodey getting a little bit sideways there, getting wheels in the gravel once again, and just losing it. And in an effort to avoid, Greg Turra just slapped that inside wall, spun across the track, and collected pretty much everyone. And that was where Resist got caught up as well, knocked into Greg Turra and got rear-ended there by Goofball Antiques. So he's currently sitting down in 13th. I just want to draw your attention to the battle for 4th right now, because Roadhog is doing a great job defending against Sam Smith for P4 as they go through the final corner. Sam Smith is throwing that Peugeot every which way around this track he possibly can. Ziras is going to try and get involved in this battle pretty soon as well, and Roadhog is defending for the life of it. He's making that Audi as wide as he possibly can.
Yeah, and it just is just proving that the Audi doesn't seem to be struggling so much with its heavy weight around this circuit, because any other circuit, Sam Smith would be through like a shot and off into that 4th place position. He's got a bit of a run through the first turn. He's going to go down the inside at Druids, and looks like he might get the job done. Roadhog manages to hang on to the outside with quite a bit of pace. He might be able to sneak down the inside at Graham Hill Bend, but he thinks better of it and slots in behind Sam Smith. I just want to say, the podium positions at the moment are Brenton Foley, Netherelmian and I Rambo, and I didn't think I would be saying that on lap 8.
Yeah, Nether's still doing quite a good job to hold on to his second place at the moment. He's got a gap behind him of 4.4 seconds to I Rambo, and he's only 2-3 seconds within touching distance of Brenton Foley at the front. So Foley hasn't really been able to pull away as much as he would have liked at the moment, and Nether's going to be trying to hold on to that position as long as he possibly can. Obviously, once the reverse grid starts really kicking in and everyone starts shuffling around to the usual positions, that might make things a little bit more challenging for the number 93 car, I think it is, for the Outlawed Racing team. Oh, who's that? That's I Rambo, and he's been caught right up to by Sam Smith and Ziras, and Roadhog's fallen back to P6 there, so Ziras has gotten through on him as well, and he's up 9 spots, Ziras, from where he started, and trying to get past Sam Smith around the outside, but he's got I Rambo in his way at the moment, so a little bit of hard work. Oh, there's a bit of punterino there. I think I Rambo may have shot across, but he's still on the track as it stands. They're all single file right now. I Rambo still leading this battle pack third. Sam Smith fourth, but Ziras is going around the outside, as a matter of fact. He's got a great run. Ziras has made his way up into P4. Roadhog is watching from behind Sam Smith as they stand at the moment. And those two across the line in 5th and 6th respectively. And they're not too far off the back of I Rambo now.
Yeah, that was actually some decent racing there between I Rambo and Sam Smith. Both of them just confident next to each other. Looked like a tiny bit of a touch on Sam Smith against I Rambo. Sam Smith looks to go down the inside, coming out of the hairpin, but Ziras covers that well and truly off. And I Rambo doing quite well to defend in only his 4th race with us in these cars. But it looks like Ziras might have the job done down the inside at Surtees. Rambo does turn in, but he leaves the car's width. And he manages to close Ziras out there. So he's managing to hold on to that position and defend quite well, but it looks like that might all come to an end here. Ziras is already through and side by side and ahead as they come through the last corner. Ziras has got that 3rd position done. He's now got about 5.5 seconds as Sam looks like an opportune dive from Sam. Just breaks a little bit later and manages to steal that 4th place from Rambo. He would not have been expecting his pocket to be picked in that particular fashion. As Sam Smith, he's all about the dives tonight, Sam Smith. Tries to go down at Druids, but is unable to do so. Looks like he's still thinking about going around the outside of Graham Hill Bend, but has to think better of it.
He's got pace and he's not afraid to use it. Sam Smith is pushing really, really hard. He's got a tiger take for sure. He's up the inside of Ziras. Can he get anything done here? No, there's a little bit of biff and barge and he almost rear-ends him. I wonder if he's going to shove him off the track then. No, there's still a great line of stern. Oh, he's giving Ziras a big hurry up at the moment. He's trying to pull out the inside as they go to the main straight. Ziras still has the run and he's going to hold on to 3rd position for the time being. Roadhog still 5th as well, but I Rambo trying to make his way past, and now Decimage, player 5, has joined the game, making this a 5-car battle, or almost splitting into 2 battles at the moment. And Sam Smith is trying to duck up the inside of Ziras at the moment, can't do anything. So Ziras looks pretty sound in 3rd, but Sam Smith is not letting him get past. And look, meanwhile, behind there a little bit, a lot of bump and barge there between Roadhog, Decimage, and I Rambo. So there's some great battling happening here in the midfield.
Yeah, Roadhog got past Rambo down the straight, but then Rambo managed to get up the inside at Druids. Looks like Roadhog went very deep, and then just a little bit of contact on the exit, and Decimage is now right up in this battle, which is it's almost a battle for 3rd place. There is now a gap building between 3rd and 4th of Sam Smith and Ziras, Sam Smith right on the back of Ziras, so not losing out too much time to the championship winner at this moment. As you can see, Ziras with a huge lockup as Berto sets the fastest lap down in 8th. A huge lockup for Ziras going through turn 1, which gives Sam Smith so much more traction and is able to catch right up to the back of the BMW. But that BMW just seems to have the legs to be able to stretch away coming out of the corners.
Yeah, it looks like Ziras have been locking up all over the track, but they both run a little bit wide there through the exit of Graham Hill Bend. We'll see especially what I'm talking about as they go to the final corner here. I still don't know the name of that corner. I've just been forgetting corner names all season. Clark Curve. So yeah, he's locked up once again. Sam Smith can't really do much about it. I suspect he's probably locking up a little bit himself. But Ziras must be chewing through his tyres. Just keep tabs on his pace. If he wants to try and get up into the pointy end of the podium, he needs to start pushing now and just forgetting about Sam Smith. He needs to stop looking in his mirrors and just making sure he can get up the road. Because if he lets his tyres degrade too much trying to hold off Sam Smith, he's not going to have a chance to push up any higher at all.
That's it. Brute just saying he's out now, guys. Good luck and congrats to Ziras. Thanks very much for coming, Brute. Very good to have your viewership as always. Yeah, this battle is just won't go away, will it? We've got Roadhog now looking like he's got a much better run out of Graham Hill Bend up alongside Rambo, but Rambo's shown he's not shy about flinging it in sideways into that corner. Oh, sorry, flinging it in side by side. Roadhog tries to go down the inside at Clark Curve. Looks like he's got the job done. They're rubbing doors as they come through and onto the start-finish straight. Berto is right behind them, looking like he's trying to recover after his earlier on accident, and Ziras with the fastest lap of the race. That as Volvo has the legs down the straight, but Roadhog, can brake a little bit later and turn in later. But Desamaj in the Peugeot is managing to gain time as Roadhog's trying to catch up to Rambo. Rambo going very defensive down the inside. Berto trying to go around the outside. Can he pick up a couple of positions? It looks like he might at least get Desamaj, and he's up alongside Desamaj, coming down into Graham Hill Bend, and straight through is Berto up into 7th place during his recovery.
Yep, Desamaj just left the door open just a little bit there, and Berto said, thank you very much, I'll be back up into P7, and he's up 6 spots from where he started. He's nowhere near where he would want to be at this point in a reverse grid race, but he's still got very, very strong pace. We saw he set the fastest lap not too long ago now, and he's on the back of Roadhog trying to sneak past him. A little bit of a bump draft there, as a matter of fact, and they're side by side going down the main straight. They've got Rambo up ahead to break the draft. Berto's into the back of him. He hasn't spun out yet, but he's just sent his rear bumper skyward, and that's going to put Berto up the inside, because that would have unsettled Rambo for sure. Is he going to hold on for the Druids corner? Yes, he is. So Rambo still holds on to P5 at the moment. Berto in 6th as it stands. And meanwhile, a little bit further up the road, Ziras is definitely shaken Samson. What's happened? Oh no, Berto's off the track again!
So Berto and Rambo made contact going through Graham Hill Bend. Not sure if Rambo just turned in on him. There was a bit of contact. We'll see if we can get a replay of it. Here we go. So Berto got an excellent run off of Druids, was able to jump down the inside coming into the following corner, and looks like, yeah, he just stuck it up the inside. Rambo maybe didn't leave a car's width, and was just enough to run Berto well and truly off and up that hill. Meanwhile, that's let Desamaj through and into 5th place, as Ziras is taking 2nd place away from Netherelmi and still in 3rd Nether, so an incredibly good run for him. His best finish of the season being a 5th place finish. So if he's able to hang on to that podium position, he will be absolutely loving it. I think last season in the DRMs he picked up his only podium for the season in the last race, so it would be on form for him to strike late. Meanwhile, Brenton Foley out the front with a 7.3 second lead. So we're just over half distance in this race. So if Brenton Foley is able to hang on to that position, that will be his best finish for the season, and only the 3rd winner of a race so far this season.
Watching last time around, Netherelmi and Ziras were side by side through Paddock Hill Bend, and that normally doesn't work out, but they managed to make it stick. Berto's got the fastest lap, 47.964, so he's pissed. He's got a mission. He's just on a mission. He's already back up into this battle pack. He's on the back of Roadhog once again already. He's just breezed past Goofball Antics, and he's in 7th at the moment, just trying to sneak past Roadhog once again. He's done it before, and he's going to try and do it again. And that battle at the moment with Desamaj heading the front of that train is looking pretty tight as it stands. Roadhog still trying to make his way up into 5th position, and it's going to make it easy. I wonder if he's almost bumped in wide, or did Desamaj make an error there? It's really hard to tell from the angle I was looking at, but Roadhog is up the inside. I think it was contact. They're going to charge down the front straight now. Roadhog is almost side by side, but Berto has a better run than he does, and he's going to have a look around the outside. I don't think there's much you can do from there, Berto. It's probably best to settle back and just sit there. No, they're still side by side between those two. Look at this. I think Berto's actually made his way through, and that's pushed Roadhog back into 7th position. So now Berto is on the charge, trying to chase down Desamaj in front of him for 5th.
Yeah, I think Roadhog, we see a replay here of Ziras making that position up over Nether, going through turn 1. So, just a little bit of contact, a little bit of wiggle, but they both managed to hold onto their tyres, so their wheels even. So very well done to both of them for doing that cleanly. As Roadhog's now attacking Berto through the last corner, and Berto's up alongside Desamaj as they're coming down towards the first turn. And Berto looks like he's even got the job done, although Desamaj might have a go around the outside. No, thinks better of it. Tucks in behind Berto as they come into turn 1. And Berto up into 5th place as it stands. Roadhog looking to take that position away from Decimage behind, as we've got Sam Smith has caught up to the back of Netherelmian, who he's managed to last up until lap 20 in the podium positions. Can he hang on for just a little bit longer? He's not a slouch in the cockpit, is Netherelmian. Much like Rambo, their results don't really reflect their actual skill. They just sometimes don't have the time to practice. So Nether doing quite well to defend here. Sam Smith looking like he wants to go down the inside, but thinks better of it. He's a pretty wise old head, is Sam Smith. So I wouldn't expect any silly moves from him.
Yeah, Netherelmian's been practicing his defensive driving all season, and this is his chance to prove it. Sam Smith is having a look up the inside now at Druids, and it looks like he's made that stick as well. Nether will not be able to cover the inside line unless he gets a really good drive, and he's actually going to have to lunge through the Grain Hill bend, and that's a great move from Netherelmian to counter there, and he's found his way back into the podium positions. Sam Smith cleans up that bumper bar sticking on the side of the track. Great work there, mate. You're making the job of the marshals a little bit easier, and he's going to still be sitting in 4th at the moment, right behind Nether. And Nether, as I was just saying, this is a true test of how well he can defensively drive that Nissan Primera and keep Sam Smith behind him. 9 more laps. I think it's 10 more laps. It's actually going to be a really big ask for him as Sam Smith has a look around the inside. But Nether is doing a fantastic job in P3 right now.
Yeah, I was just about to say that was a fantastic little back and forth they had, and we might have another look at it here. Although Nether's managed to cover it off at Druids, but he's gone deep. He's gone deep at Druids, and Sam's managed to dive up the inside, but looks like Nether's got enough drive to hang on to it, and he's going to have the inside for Graham Hill Bend and that position back again. Although Sam's going to try to swap it up the inside as they come on down to Surtees. They're side by side. Is one of them going to blink? No, neither of them blinks, but Nether has not got the pace to hang on to it, so he has to duck in behind Sam Smith. He's almost updrafting him through the last turn in that Nissan Primera, and they're going to be almost side by side as they come out and onto the start-finish straight. Sam Smith has a bit of an advantage, but it's not by too much. But Nether, it's enough that Nether has to concede the position. So after 23 laps, Nether has lost that position to Sam Smith, as we get a replay here of Goofball Antics watching Roadhog just go wide at Druids, and then they're side by side coming down towards Graham Hill Bend. Roadhog blocks him out, and they're now all three of them are now nuts to butts. Roadhog goes down the inside at Surtees, and it looks like out of not sure what happened, but out of that scrap, Roadhog's come out on top in 6th place.
Yeah, he's doing a great job in P6 at the moment. He can see Berto just up the road. Berto is trying his best to charge, and there's every single chance that Berto may actually catch up to the back of Nether and demote him back to 5th, but that's another battle for another time. As we stand at the moment, we've still got Roadhog in P6. He's starting to pull a little bit of a gap, as a matter of fact, on Decimage behind him, and Decimage is doing a great job holding off Goofball Antics.
Sorry, I was just looking at Brenton Foley lapping Tyrrell, and it was a bit fraught, and it's cost him about 2 seconds to Ziras in his attempt to hang on to the lead of this race, Brenton Foley. So he's got about 7 laps left to go, as Rhodey is sent wide. I think that was by Tyrrell going through Clark Curve. There was a big whack of contact, and Rhodey was sent off and into the wall. So that'll be, well, I guess Ziras will be quite happy to see that he's got one less car to lap between himself and Brenton Foley. Brenton Foley will be less happy because he had to get past both of them, as we've got a replay here. So they go through Surtees, and it looks all fine at that point. And then just, a little collect at the back by Tyrrell, and sends Rhodey straight off and into the wall. So a little bit messy there.
Yeah, that's never really what you want to see. And I think Rhodey's actually caused some damage as a result of that, so he's well and truly out of any fight he was having with Tyrrell at the back of the race. Well, it nearly gets cleaned up by Berto there, because he was sort of parked on the racing line on the way up towards Druids. Not really a huge amount of space you can actually park your car when you're trying to get lapped. I was saying earlier in a little bit of a driver's briefing message that it's a very, very tough track to lap on or be lapped on. So I think the name of the game in the group chat, the voice chat that they have at the moment, is just to be very vocal when they're trying to lap each other and just make each other aware of where they are, so we don't get incidents where the racing traffic on the lead lap gets caught up with the cars they're trying to get past on lap traffic. But Brenton Foley crosses the line to start lap number 26, and he's got a gap of 3.3 seconds at the moment to Ziras, and he's going to be rapidly closing that down. I'm not sure what the exact deltas are between these two cars, but Ziras means business, as we always know. And it's about half a second per lap is what I'm hearing from the director's office. So there's every chance that this may be a final lap battle for the win here. And Brenton Foley, we'll have to see how well he holds on under pressure.
Yeah, he's done very well so far this race. He's just kept his head on straight, and he's managed to just pump out some pretty quick laps. So 3.4 seconds the gap is at the moment, and we've got 5 laps left to run right around now as Brenton Foley starts the 27th lap of this 31-lap race. So that would, if it's half a second a lap, that would work out to be just not quite enough time for Ziras to make that position, but who knows what can happen in these last 5 laps. Brenton Foley, I'm sure, is on tenterhooks in that cockpit as he is on track for his best finish for the season, and the only winner outside of, I said the third winner, but it would actually be the fourth because I forgot about Lewis Wedding and his one-hit wonder last time at Brands Hatch in the Oblov.
Have a look at this battle between Nether and Berto for 4th position, and Nether was going to try the same thing he did on Sam Smith, where he just jumped on the anchors a little bit later in Grant Hill and snuck through. Couldn't make it happen this time around, and Berto is up into 4th position, and that pushes Nether back down to P5. But it was a great run up in the podium spots for Nether for that first 20-21 laps of the race, wasn't it, Madbird?
It was, and it just shows that he's better than his results have been this season. He's back when he had more time to practice, and he perhaps didn't have an offspring to look after and all that sort of stuff. And of course, he runs many of his own streams over at Automobilista Australia for Outworld Broadcasting. Back when he had a bit more time to practice, he was definitely right up towards the pointy end of the results most weeks. So it's good to see him, even if it isn't a reverse grid race, it's good to see him fighting for positions like that. And same thing with Rambo. Rambo did quite well in the pointy end at the start of this race, defending against some people that you wouldn't expect him to be defending against. He's still in the points, down in 9th place, so it's good to see, good to have Rambo back with us once again as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's always good to see a lot of races here. We've got 15 cars on the grid. As we were alluding to earlier, it's a great turnout for the final round of the season. Brenton Foley has started lap number 29, and the gap has come down to about 1.5 seconds or thereabouts. Ziras is really catching in these last couple of laps. You can see the gap there, how much it's come down. And Brenton Foley's got a lot of work to do if he wants to keep him behind. He's just got to pump down qualifying laps, and Ziras is going to be doing the same for sure. And by the time he comes around the line here, the gap is going to be maybe a little bit shorter. I'm not sure. I think he will have to defend for a lap or two at the end. And I think where Brenton Foley's losing the most time is in the first couple of corners. I'm just going to have a look at the margin to see how far it comes down between now and Druids. It was about 1.4 seconds when they crossed the start-finish line. It seems to be steady at the moment. And when they exit Druids, let's see where it stands once they're both out of that corner. He's actually lost 2/10 through Druids, so I think that hairpin is really making him struggle, but I don't think at this current rate it's enough for Ziras to catch up, Madbird.
No, I reckon it's only one more lap after this one. Brenton Foley, that's the last time I'm going to get those two mixed up this season, I swear. Brenton Foley has only got to hold on to that position for one more lap. It's down under 1 second now, so I reckon Ziras' best opportunity is going to be a mega run through the first 2 turns and get it out of Druids. Here we go. So start of the last lap of the season. Brenton Foley leads through turn 1 with Ziras right behind as they come out and head on down towards the hairpin. Has he done enough? So Ziras closes up under brakes at the hairpin. Brenton Foley keeps it nice and tidy through the hairpin and out, and then come on down towards Graham Hill Bend. Through Graham Hill Bend, Ziras isn't able to close down at all. Brenton Foley keeps all 4 tyres on the track. Little puff of smoke as they go through Surtees. And I reckon Brenton Foley has done enough. Matty, what do you think?
I reckon he has, but don't jinx it yet. There's still one more corner. It's a pretty tricky corner. Ziras is trying to get the rear bumper up underneath Brenton Foley. Brenton Foley is sitting on a very defensive line. That's going to compromise his run, but there's just enough space. Ziras can duck and weave, but Brenton Foley has the win. He has won a race this season. Big round of applause at Brenton Foley. That was a phenomenally defensive drive at the end there. Geez, that would have been squeaky for him. Ziras just comes home in 2nd position. Sam Smith is your 3rd place getter with Brenton Foley, with Berto, just behind him. There we go. I got the confusions all sorted for you, mate. Nether takes 5th position ahead of Goofball Antics, who just overcame Roadhog at the end there. Decent Rachel crossed the line at 8th. Rambo finishes in the points. I think that's for the first time, as a matter of fact. In 9th position, it is the first time this season. Greg Turra, after that early crash, will recover the 10th position. and we're just seeing the last few cars circulating around. I think that's actually the whole field. So Tyrrell, a lap down, finished 11th with Josh Bagsy DNFing from the race, as a matter of fact. Rhodey just has to finish this. I'm not sure if Rhodey's actually finished this lap because Josh Bagsy is listed ahead of Rhodey in the standings, even though Rhodey is still out on the track and Bagsy's in the garage. So I'm not sure what the go is there. But I think it is Bagsy 12th, Rhodey 13th, Resist and Zahlingeer not finishing this race.
Bloody hell! What what a finish that was! Holy heck! I'm hyped to have a chat to Brenton Foley. I think he's going to be absolutely bloody stoked with that result.
Oh, I think that's what he's doing at the moment, because he's pretty stoked with it at the moment. He's just ripping mad skids over in the Clark curves at the moment. And why wouldn't you? You'd be absolutely stoked with a result like that. And well done again to Brenton Foley. That was a phenomenal drive.
In the meantime, though, we do have the other podiums as Brenton Foley continues skidding his way around the track in celebration. We do have our other podium sitters in the box with us. So Sam Smith, 2 third places on the trot. Very well done to you, mate, and some great battling throughout that race to lock down that 3rd place.
Yeah, that was a really fun race.
It wasn't quite as disastrous as you were hyping it up to be in the first race interviews. Did it seem all pretty clean to yourself?
Oh, there's a bit of a bump with James. It was a bit dodgy, but I let him stay in front, so I think it's all right. And a few bumps with Ziras, but that was good. And I was hoping Nether would hold Ziras up, but didn't happen.
Yeah, we were singing Nether's praises for holding yourselves up as well as you did. Some pretty decent racing from some guys that usually aren't up towards the front of the field.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Really good fun.
So 3rd in the championship for yourself, mate. A lot of 3rd places to your name as well, along with a few seconds. Do you reckon that's about as good as you could have managed this season, or was there a little bit left on the table if you'd had a bit more practice?
Oh, I don't think so. I think 3rd is as good as it's going to get. Those 2 guys are just light waves ahead, and then you've got other people who are capable of being similar pace to me, so I think 3rd's as good as it's going to be.
Fair enough. Well, we look forward to seeing you again next season. Congratulations on your 3rd place tonight, and your 3rd place in the first race, and your 3rd place in the championship. So you seem to be making a thing of 3rds.
Thank you very much, and thanks for the calls.
Thank you very much. We then have our 2nd place man, Ziras. An incredible, you ended up having, it took you a little while, up to about lap 7, I reckon, to get up into the podium positions. But you got there eventually, and then Brenton Foley just had enough of a gap to keep you at bay.
I was ironing it off after I got out of the traffic, and I kept reassuring him, no, you've got this, you just got the pace for it. And yeah, I was just nailing out consistent laps to try and catch him, and it was a photo finish. So no, that was awesome, and congrats Brenton on that.
Yeah, it looked like there was a moment where he had to lap Tyrrell and Rhodey, and then I think Tyrrell sent Rhodey into the fence, so that was one less car for you to lap. How was the lapping around this track? You were saying in the first race interview that it was going to be pretty tricky.
Yeah, so it was hard to pass people for position, but I think the lap runners did quite well to get out of the way for us.
Always good to see. And I can't ask you if you think you could have done any better this season, because you took out the championship in pretty dominant style. Very well done on your 7th championship in Apex Rear Wing. Are you intending to slow down anytime soon? No,
I hope somebody beats me while I'm at my best.
Absolutely, we hope so too, and I mean that in the nicest possible way. Congratulations on your 2nd place and your 1st place and your 1st place in the championship. And then the guy that I want to talk to, Brenton Foley, with you saved it for the very last race of the season, but it looks like you finally pulled it out. Congratulations, mate. That was an absolute cracker drive.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that one. It's about time I kept it on the track for a whole race. But got a bit lucky considering it was a reverse grid and I was halfway up the grid starting. But overall, really happy. It's a hard track to have kind of a lead like that, knowing you've got a bit of a pace deficit, because there's so many corners where you can see them coming, and you just see the gap come down every single time. It was pretty daunting, especially when Ziras is telling me that I've got it, your tyres will be fine. I'm sure everyone's been in that position and how daunting that is, but overall really happy with it. Shame I couldn't get it on a race one, but still happy to take my second ARW victory.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're the only one outside of Ziras, Berto, and Lewis Wedding to have won a race this season. So congratulations on that. We did look about 5 or 6 laps left to run, and we were trying to calculate. All right, he's about half a second slower than Ziras per lap, so it should be just enough. But then that last lap, Ziras seemed to, between turn 1 and the Druid's hairpin, Ziras seemed to just close right up on you under traction and brakes.
Yeah, every time, and I was trying to be very nice to my rear tires, which is something I don't normally do, and trying to just keep it straight and make sure that I could fight if I really had to. And all of my laps were within a tenth or two of my best time, but then every time I'd look at the timing sheet and see that he's a little bit closer every single time. So with the last 5 or 6 laps to go, I just gave up and stopped looking at it and just kind of kept my eyes on the road.
Very well done. It seemed to work out well for you. Congratulations very much on your win there, Brenton, and hope to see you up towards the pointy end a lot more during season 10.
Thanks very much. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Matty, that was the last race of the season, mate. How the hell did you find tonight and the entire season?
Well, tonight has been absolutely brilliant, and it's sort of just a great reflection of what Apex Real Wing really is all about. Just a bunch of drivers out there just having a red hot go, no matter what their skill level is, because everyone's really got a chance to have a really successful time on their own terms, you know? We were cheering on Roadhog just getting that 4th position just as much as we were Brenton Foley for that win there in the last race. And it was just fantastic racing all around, not just this round, but also for the entire season. The cars definitely helped with that, but the drivers themselves, you can't thank them enough for the quality show they put on for us every week, can you, Madbird?
Absolutely not. There's my last absolutely of the season, apart from that one just then. So that's your last 2 shots. But I think tonight was probably one of the best nights we've had. Just absolute cracking racing from start to finish and right to the line on both occasions. Not for the lead, not for the win in the first race, obviously, but still an absolute cracker all the way to the end, just to confirm the point standings. Of course, unless there's any penalties or anything like that to be applied. Ziras with the win, with Berto in 2nd, Sam Smith 3rd. Resist does take out 4th place in the championship, with Brenton Foley coming home in 5th. Goofball Antics in 6th. Decimage in 7th. Zahlingeer in his debut season in 8th, so very strong for him. Greg Turra finally getting some races under his belt after a couple last season in the DRMs, comes home in 9th. Roadhog in 10th. Netherelmi in 11th. Lewis Wedding with his he came for 3 races, 2 at Brands Hatch at 1 at Knock Hill, ends up coming home in 12th with his win. Tyrrell in 13th, Bagsy in 14th, Fruity Ping, who came for a couple of rounds earlier in the season, in 15th, Rambo, who's been here for the last couple of weeks, in 16th, and Rhodey. I know we've got some Rhodey fans in the audience. He does come home last in the championship, but he did only do 3 race nights, so hopefully next season can do some more and find his way up the championship ladder. And we're looking like a season 10 start towards middle of October. So absolutely keep an eye out on our socials on Facebook, search for Apex Rear Wing and give us a like over there so you can find out all the updates. Give us a like on YouTube and a subscribe if you haven't already. And if you do feel so inclined and you've got $1 or $2 that you don't want to spend on a coffee per month, flick that over to us on Patreon. It definitely helps us out a lot, and it is a lot of effort to put these shows on. But for the last time this season, I have been Madbird, and I've been joined. It has been my absolute pleasure to be joined by Matty Dunlop for this entire season. Any parting words, Matty?
Likewise, Madbird. It's been fantastic to join you in the box for this whole season. Also want to give a massive thanks to Stairs, who's normally been my partner in the commentary booth, but has taken on a director role for this season and has done an absolutely stellar job. It's been great fun working with the two of you. Cannot wait for it to happen once again next season, and I can't wait for all of you folks watching along to join us then as well. Mid-October, keep your eyes on the socials, as Madbird alluded to. But for the last time this season, I've been Matty.
And I've been Madbird, and we'll see you later.